Two screens, two different views. That's what we're all about. Welcome to Dual Screen Radio, where listening is good.
This is Shane R. Monroe.
This is Chris Hentschel.
And welcome to another episode of Dual Screen Radio, where listening is good, yes. Good stuff. Hey, we have had a couple weeks off here, and as you all know, we are trying to run a bi-weekly show every other week. I'm not sure how we failed to communicate that. We've had a lot of people after our DS Lite episode. Yeah, when's the next episode out? Well, 2 weeks, pal.
Yeah, I think they got a little confused. I think because we came out with that 1-2 punch of episodes after our little delay there.
Yeah.
That I think people were thinking, oh, wait, is this going to be a weekly thing now, or,
Yeah, we confused everybody. But we wanted to make good on our content, so we're back to our regular ritual here. Another show, another 2 weeks has gone by, and tons, of course, of stuff to talk about. Unbelievable. We got a nice little editorial commentary for you this episode. We're on to the game publishers. We know what's going on, and we're going to help you avoid spending your hard-earned cash on rip-off games, and we're going to give you a little pointer and talk to you a little bit about that. We're going to review Brain Age, training your brain in minutes a day. I'm very excited. Big phrase. We're going to tell you why it rules. Coming attractions, what's out now so you can spend your money properly. Of course, we have our regular touch-and-go news segment, and we got tons of things to tell you about that we've updated on the website. Lots more features for those of you who are casting this show. I'd like to once again remind you, we're going to nag you every single episode, so just expect this to come. If you're podcasting or media casting or streaming or whatever you want to call it, the show, and you're not hitting the site regularly, you're seriously missing out on a lot of features.
Big time.
Big time. The show is only one piece of the Dual Screen Radio community. We have a huge discussion forum, which is one of the other pieces, and then we also have a very large interactive website that gets better every single day, it seems like. So you definitely want to experience all of what Dual Screen Radio has to offer. So
there's so much stuff going on at that
There's
site.
my anti-casting message for the show.
Yeah.
And, of course, we'll probably manage to segue onto a couple of other tangents while we're going on. But anyway, that's kind of the show in a nutshell. Very exciting to be back behind the mic. I know Chris is excited.
Oh, definitely. I love doing this. This is fantastic.
I mean,
where else can you hear about everything there is to know about the Nintendo DS from a couple of super fans?
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
But at the same time, we're not going to sit and hold back either. We'll tell it like it is.
That's right. We're not, for those of you, maybe this is your first episode of Dual Screen Radio. You don't know what we're all about. And we do have back episodes, which reminds me, while we're talking about back episodes, this is important. For you casters out there, there's only going to be like 3 episodes online at a given time. If you want archives, again, I find a way to send you to our website. The website will contain all the back episodes, providing our mirrors and everything else hold out, at least for now. And now that may change. We may move to something similar that I do with Retro Gaming Radio, where we only keep 6 episodes online at any given time. And that kind of encourages you to, save the episodes that you like, that sort of thing. I think people, and I'm totally guilty of this, get reliant on the fact that, hey, it's on the internet, it's going to be there forever, I can just come back and get it whenever I feel like it. For those of you who've been on the internet more than about a week, you know that that's just not the case. And, you'll bookmark some really cool page, and then you'll tell somebody about it, you'll go back, and it's dead. This video clip that you saw on YouTube that you want to pass around, like the Nintendo 64 kid opening up that Nintendo 64 in slow motion. We need to give them a link to that, because that's like the funniest thing ever.
No, we can rent from Blockbuster.
And they slow the video down when the kids yell. Dude, it's like the Nintendo 64. That's like the best video ever. But, I went to tell a coworker about that, and YouTube had pulled it for copyright violation. What, Nintendo complained? Give me a break. Yeah, the YouTube copy's pulled, so I had to go and find somebody else. It was so gay.
Yeah, because if anything, it's just promoting how wonderful Nintendo is. I mean, look at that kid. He was bonkers to get a Nintendo system.
Maybe it's the kid. Maybe the kid grew up or something. Now he's right. This is
like the Star Wars kid,
Yeah,
the Star Wars kids.
I didn't think it was that embarrassing.
I've been ridiculed. Look at me. I'm in my pajamas.
I'm in my pajamas with a lightsaber.
Yeah, a pedophile might be looking at me, man.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so...
Oh, and you know what? While you were bringing up the website, just in case for all those people that are casting and are kind of out of the loop a little bit, the website is www.dualscreenradio.com. Can't get much simpler than that.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. We did our best to keep it easy for you. But anyway, so again, I told you we were going to segue off of this. As I was saying before, if you want old episodes of the show, you might want to keep them. You might want to visit the website, get the older episodes, because that's the way you're going to be able to get a full collection. And yes, we've had people who are fans of both Dual Screen Radio and Retro Gaming Radio. Yes, I'm going to plug my other show a few times. That have asked, are you guys going to be releasing back episodes on CD or DVD? The answer is very likely. And if that happens, of course, it's in our best interest to keep the number of shows that are online at a given time to a fair minimum, which appears to be 6 episodes. I mean, I've been doing Retro Gaming Radio for going on 9 years now, and 6 episodes seems to be the right number of episodes to keep online if you're selling a back-end DVD or CD along with the show. So, hey, got to fund the show somehow. We don't have ads. We don't have ad banners. We don't sell advertising. So that's how the show turns a couple bucks.
You figure that'll probably be like maybe a yearly thing, right? Like a season set or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And once we produce enough episodes to clear a season out, we'll probably move them to an archive disc.
Cool.
I mean, I really enjoy the fact that we can throw episodes like MP3 episodes onto a CD, and if your car stereo plays MP3s or your pocket player plays MP3s or whatever, that takes a physical media, not like an iPod or whatever. But something that takes a CD with MP3s on it, you can just download the shows, put them on a disc, and throw them in your car.
That's exactly what my father's been doing. He's been taking every episode we do, and it's a multi-session disc, and just popping them on there as we get a new show out. He pops them on there and listens to them on the way to work.
See, that's great stuff, I think that we'll be able to offer, the MP3 edition every so often, and we record the show a lot more than I do Retro Gaming Radio, so there's going to be more shows.
Oodles of
shows, so maybe we'll have to release them every 6 months. I don't know. We're not even at that point yet. We want to get a good, steady listener base, and a good show with good rapport with our audience, and the people really enjoy the show. And then we'll talk about whether we can put them on disc and sell them or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But somebody asked. I figured this would be as good a time as any.
Clear the air a little.
Clear the air a little. Because I tend to forget what we've actually talked about. Even though it's only 2 weeks, it's just so much stuff happens in 2 weeks anymore.
It's insane. The DS world is once again erupting, and the summer's coming, and usually things kind of slow down a little bit, because normally the winter's when it's all packing up, but you got E3 coming out soon, so that's
E3 is going to be insane. Plus, you've got tons of stuff coming out this next week or two.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just this week alone, and we'll get to that in our coming attractions section, and out now section. But, just in one of the new segments alone, we have just what one company is planning on E3, and it just blows your mind just what they have entailed to bring out for the DS system.
Unbelievable.
Can't wait to see what everybody else is doing.
I know. E3 would have been the bomb to go to this year. I just wish I could have arranged it. But no time for that. I'm sure we will have a correspondent there of some sort to give us some nice, juicy insights.
I think we'll figure it out somehow.
Yeah, we'll figure out something. Anyway, this month, Chris and I sat down and we were trying to come up with an editorial commentary for the show. We like to start the show off with a little opinion, and I think that we're on to something. Twice now, we have seen top-notch looking games or top-notch license games come out. And suspiciously, there's never any video with these games. The first one was Burnout Legends. Now, I'm kind of a cheerleader for Burnout Legends because the game is kind of impossible to run on the DS, but they tried really hard, and some things work and some things don't. But the first thing that you'll notice if you were looking for Burnout Legends was the fact that there were lots of screenshots, but no video. I mean, they've got video of the goofiest, stupidest, elf bowlingest games out there. Right? And there's video for those. And then you say, well, dude, this is Burnout Legends. This is from EA. There should be videos, crawling out of my mailbox.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And yet, silently, the game came to market to retail, and there were still no videos. I'm not even sure if there are any videos yet of Burnout Legends on the net.
It's almost like they were ashamed to show it all.
They were ashamed to show it. And truly, you can sell a game on pictures, but we all know that the DS works or does not work in motion. So while the pictures looked decent, you're going, hey, they might just be able to pull this off. We learned quickly that that's not the case.
DS always looks better in motion. That's what
when a game looks better in stills and there's no video released, Top Spin 2. Chris, you finally got a chance to look at that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was one of my big games, and heck, it was even on my wish list for the DSR, my little list of games. I had it on my wish list. I was really excited about getting it because it's basically from the guys who did Virtual Tennis on the Dreamcast.
And
so,
look at the graphics.
Fantastic
man.
game.
The stills
it was like
great.
a little miniature version of it, and it looked really fantastic. I ended up getting a chance to try it out in person, even though I've seen the horrendous looking video that Shane shot. Not his quality, but just the quality of the game was horrendous. And I said, this couldn't be. I just had to subject myself to the horrible letdown in person. So, I booted the thing up, and well, there it goes. I mean, it looks like a real solid, polished game when you boot it up, and it kind of tricks you a little bit. You're like, this isn't too bad, and you're going through the menus, you're selecting everything, and then you're kind of presented with what I call somewhat of a loading screen, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was a load screen. You're going, what? Loading what?
I mean, what the heck, man? I mean, I'm looking, and then the game gets on, and sure enough, just as Shane's wonderful video portrayed, once the ball is volleyed back to you, there's a delay as it reaches just over your net, which kind of throws off the gameplay a bit.
Does that make you mental or what? That makes me mental.
The frame rate drops, so it's almost difficult to just kind of return the volley of the ball without any kind of skill. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't even time it properly because of the frame rate drop, and there's really no excuse for it.
None at all.
Look what we're doing on Metroid Prime Hunters. Not only is there no loading, but what is this, dude? This is ridiculous. I mean, there's like stuff moving at every corner of the screen on Metroid Prime Hunters. Yet this thing can't even just show two guys, pretty much playing an updated version of Pong, So
yeah,
really lit down.
I was disgusted.
And I can't even say that it's because of the fact that this is a third-party company here. Maybe they're not as advanced, or maybe they don't have the architecture, programming, etc., whatever you want to call it, given to them that somebody like Nintendo would have. Obviously, first-party Nintendo is going to be, bringing that balls to the walls video here, and gaming, technology. But I can't even say that because this game is just. There's really not much to this game. It's really not much to look at. There's only a couple 3D characters on the screen, so there's really no call for this at all.
Yeah.
I mean, FIFA 2006 runs perfectly smooth. I want to say it's almost 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
And you got way more guys running around that field than you do on this little court.
Yeah, so. And I can't, I guess to me, and
really
I don't run a video game division, and I'm not, the producer of some big programming house, but when you do something like this, you got to sit back and ask yourself, what are they thinking? It's like, okay, so you sit down, you say, okay, here's the Nintendo DS, and we're going to write some games for it. We want to tap this newfound 10, 13 million user market. Smart move. So let's come up with a game. And at some point, just like in that wrestling video on the PSP that we talked about a couple episodes ago, somebody at Real 2K said this is okay to ship. There's no reason for us to continue to improve on it, that frame rate's not going to bug anybody. No one's ever going to call us on this. And you think to yourself, why bother? I mean, do you hope that enough units are going to sell before somebody calls you on it? Do you hope? Okay, we'll move 60,000 units, and by that time, the word will be out on the net that our game sucks, but we'll have already sold the 60,000, so who cares? I mean, there's no way to paint this scenario where it's like it's okay.
It's ridiculous. And what else really bothers me is it's also out on the PSP, and it looks fantastic on
there. Well, of course. That's because they have all that extra horsepower to hide the fact that they can't code.
Right, exactly.
And that's got to be it.
But there's no reason for this. It really isn't. And I'm really down on it only because I was really excited to get this game. I loved it on the Dreamcast. And from what I read, the company Visual Concepts, who designed it on the Dreamcast, basically became the 2K company that designed this one, and it just blows me away. I don't know. I'm just so disappointed. I was ready to go out and buy this sucker.
Yeah, and I did buy it, which is really sad because I thought, there's no way that this can be messed up. There's no way that you can mess this up. I mean, it's freaking 3D Pong. How complicated does this have to be? And it's like you get sideswiped with these sort of titles, And there's some games where you look at it like Burnout Legend, you go, there's no way the DS can do it. I'm not even going to waste my time. But when you look at Topspin, come on. You know?
Even Burnout played a little better than Top Spin.
Yeah, that's really freaking sad. When you can say that Burnout, you of all people who didn't care for Burnout, can say, yeah, it's better than Top Spin. That's pretty sad. You know, and that's why I recorded that video of Top Spin 2 a couple episodes back and posted it. It's on Google Video now if you go looking for it, to show just how piss poor it is. It's like the screens look so good.
They don't care.
They don't care. And that's what bugs me the most. For some reason, I'm in this fantasy world where it's like, oh, it's the Nintendo DS, and people aren't going to release crap for it. Guess again. You'd think after Elf Bowling
that's
and
exactly
Zoo Tycoon,
how I feel. Yeah.
That you would think that, okay, we've been screwed twice now this year, or in the last year and a half. We're done. We've had our stinkers, but no, something like Top Spin has to show up and really ruin my feelings about the development on the DS. So, our new rule of thumb is, if you're watching IGN or you're listening to the show or whatever, and you find a game that's really hyped, a big title that looks fantastic in screenshots, but no video shows up, you better wait for us to give you the skinny.
Yeah, be afraid, be warned.
Yeah, run. Turn around and run.
I'm wondering, I swear, there's some little inkling in the corner of my brain that wants to say, oh, this is just a DS, who cares? Like what these companies are thinking. But at the same time, this is still money and everything involved, and workmanship involved in this game. I mean, and time. So obviously that all factors in there as well. So on the other hand, they really can't be thinking that way. But at the same time, it's almost like, well, we have the rights to this name, such as Burnout Legends. Let's shovel it on as much crap as we can.
Oh, and EA. Oh man, do they want to like sink the DS or what? I think EA and Sony are in bed together or something.
Yeah, in EA, the only game I've played from them that is even somewhat decent, actually, it's above decent. It's just fantastic. Is the FIFA 2006. I was totally shocked at how wonderful that game was.
I think that was a fluke, dude. Because you look at that, and then you look at things like, Marvel Rise of the Imperfects.
Yep.
It's like, Rise of the Imperfects. The whole game is imperfect. I mean, what an apt title for a game. Rise of the Imperfects. Well, there you go. I mean,
we are rising to imperfect the system.
I'm going to make a game that's called Crap Game. Put it in a box, and we'll see if people actually buy it.
Crap Game 2007.
Crap Games 27,
2K7.
2K7.
With music by 50 Cent, J. Rule, and P. Diddy.
Dude, you're killing me.
With special appearances by the king himself from Burger King,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right, man. Burger King starting to write software, dude. I'm in one with myself.
Sponsored by Adidas.
Yes. This lob brought to you by Burger King Chicken Fries. Man, I can't
we have
get
to
enough.
pay. Well, see this stutter in Top Spin 2? See this delay in frame rate? That's because of the lack of advertising in our game.
That's right. Yeah,
we couldn't afford that frame.
Yeah, it's downloading ads while you're getting ready to volley back. That's what you're waiting on. I don't know.
How nuts is that?
Nuts.
That reminds me. This is kind of off the tangent a little bit, but speaking of EA, did you see what they did with I think it was their fight night for the PSP, where supposedly you actually have to pay them 2 cents or something for them not to give your name in to a bunch of sponsors and advertisers.
No.
Yes.
Well, I didn't heard about that.
If you get online, now I'm sure I'm not saying it correctly, but this is more or less the gist of it. I don't have it in front of me, and I don't own a PSP, but from what I heard, there's a lot of bitching going on about this because
interesting
guys would get on the Wi-Fi service, the free Wi-Fi supposedly that this, I guess you got to go through EA still, but. You load up Fight Night, and you're actually presented with a screen that asks you, I think it's like 2 cents or something, but they're actually charging you to stay off the advertising list.
Wow. How are you supposed to pay 2 cents? That's what I want to know.
I don't know how that works.
Credit card? I mean, that doesn't.
I have no idea. I don't know if you have to go to the website. That's the thing. I just know there's something going on there with this advertising nonsense.
Wow, man.
But that's probably for another show.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on another show.
That's actually probably better suited to retro gaming radio.
But. Yeah, I'll bitch about that. That sounds good. Yeah. Anyway, so suffice to say, keep an eye out. I think the real key is if there's no video, there's something wrong with the game, and buyer beware. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, I know right off the bat, Burnout Legends wasn't really doing it for me, just looking at the still shots. So I really didn't have much hope to see it in video, even though, like I said before, the video tends to always look better. And that's the thing, that the DS, once it's actually on the DS, it looks even better.
Yeah.
So it's just really weird. I don't know if it's the way it's recorded or what. But big time let down for Topspin. Could care less about Burnout. I love the Burnout on the the consoles. But
yeah, Burnout's the bomb, and I guess it's okay on the PSP, but who cares?
Yeah,
okay,
anyway.
So let's move on to our review. We only have one game to review because we wanted to make sure that we gave it the proper time.
But it's a doozy.
It's a doozy, and I've got tons of things to talk about. I know Chris has got a ton of things to talk about. Of course, this month or this episode. See, I was trying to go the whole episode without actually saying month. This episode, we're going to look at brain age, training your brain in minutes a day. And boy, this has really sparked up some controversy, too, recently on our forums and in blogs and all those other online opinion areas. You want to start this one off? Do you want to give an overview of what brain age actually is?
Well, it's brain age, which is basically a training program for your brain to a point. I like to think of it as more of a brain stimuli. It stimulates your brain. It's not really making you smarter, but you have a grade that you go by, starting from. Actually, I don't even know what the peak is, but the lowest is in your 20s.
Yeah, 20 is the lowest, I think.
And you're put through all these little, I don't want to call them puzzles. What would you call them? Activities?
Yeah, activities.
They're little, just a couple minute activities that you do each day. And as you do them, it grades your brain age overall on how your brain is interacting with these puzzles and how much you perform. The better you perform, you're going to get a lower brain age, which is better because if you're, 55, 60 something, whatever years old, and you're scoring with a brain age of 70, then obviously that's not good because that's older than how old you really are. Basically, you're running through. I don't even know how many games there are at the moment. I haven't even unlocked them all. I want to say there's just under 10 or so. But every day as you do them, it's going to grade you and rate you, and then you move on and so on and so on. And you're always trying to get your age down to the peak performance of 20, which means your brain is a young, nice, ripe brain age.
Now, it's worth mentioning that they never actually claim that, they're actually doing anything legit. It's not like they're like, if you run this game, your IQ will raise significantly,
Right.
They never talk about that. They talk about it being a mental exercise. Just like, when you wake up in the morning, if you've ever done like martial arts or you've ever done any sort of training, they'll tell you that the best time to stretch is when you first get out of bed in the morning. Watch your cats and your dogs. When they wake up, what's the first thing they do? They stretch. So this is supposed to be like stretching your mind or working your mind out a little bit. And again, is this unique to brain age? Is brain age the only thing you can do when you wake up in the morning to stimulate your mind? Of course not. A lot of people are like, well, this is crap, man. It doesn't really do anything. And if you play Tetris, it's the same thing as playing brain age. You're using the same mental capacity, whatever. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if the game is supposed to increase your IQ or whether the game is supposed to give you a mental exercise. It's fun. It's and that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? We're not supposed to be, genetically increasing our IQ through DNA strand building. We're supposed to be having a good time when we play these games.
We're supposed to be growing our sixth finger.
That's right. We're growing our sixth finger. And that's what brain age is really there for. It's an entertaining way. You know what I think of when I think of brain age? I think of, and heaven forbid anybody listening here actually reads the newspaper, but no, seriously, I don't even read the newspaper anymore. I'm not trying to slam anybody. It's just a different society.
I think the newspaper's on its way out, more or less.
Yeah, like people who are like 80 read the newspaper because they're afraid to turn on the computer to get news. But literally in the old days when I used to read the newspaper religiously when I was in high school. It was just I had a thing for current events. So I read Time Magazine, I read Newsweek, and I read the newspaper every single day. And every single day in the newspaper, there's a little box, usually across the page from the comic books, that have little mind benders, anagrams or little crossword puzzles or, a word problem, vocab builders, right? They have these little boxes in the newspaper in the feature section that are designed to give you a little something to do while you're drinking your coffee in the morning. And that's what brain age is. It's an electronic version of these little mind things that you would do in the newspaper every morning.
Yeah,
and for those of you who are like 12,
there's people that I think just buy the newspaper just to do those things, like the crossword.
Yeah, they take the whole newspaper, they unroll it, they throw everything away but the feature section and the Albertsons ad, and they do the crossword puzzle, or they do the find a word, or they do whatever. this is really designed to kind of replace it. And as a bonus, it gauges your time. It gives you a score, like any good game should.
Stats.
It keeps your statistics. You can have more than one slot, so you, your wife, your kid, your sister, whatever, everybody can maintain their own slot, and you can actually pull your graphs up against your family's graphs. You know,
you can see who's smarter or who's doing better, and it'll compare the two in this big, like, statistical graph.
And he keeps track. This little floating head, which is almost creepy. Just to kind of get back to the meat of the game. You fire the game up, and this little floating, Japanese guy's head pops up, the doctor who apparently made the game. It's creepy, though. It's creepy, okay? There's this floating head that kind of laughs and stuff. It's freaky.
Kind of looks like something from Tron,
Yeah, or Max Headroom is, for some reason, what I always think about every time I see that head.
The Bishop of Battle.
So the guy pops up, and he has some word of encouragement every day or whatever, and he'll pop up, and the game is kind of broken into three major parts. When I say game, I know a lot of people say, Brain Age isn't a game. Whatever. I'm going to call it a game because it's easy enough to talk about. It comes really in three parts. You have your brain check or your brain evaluation piece, which consists of about 4 or 5 different games that you'll play over time. There's a daily training, which you get to play sort of like Nintendogs did, where you can play everything once every day. So you have that, and then you have Sudoku, which we're going to talk about probably more towards the end because it's made me its bitch, and I know it's made Chris its bitch.
Yeah,
so,
it's actually an add-on to the American version. The Japanese version of this didn't even have Sudoku,
which is crazy. But anyway, so let's get back to it. So as Chris pointed out, the brain age check is something that you can do whenever you feel like it. You have to do it once. The first time you start the game up, the guy puts you through 3 tests, and they vary. Like I said, there's like 5 or 6 different ones that I've seen.
Yeah, there's less than 10 of them total. But the way they're randomized and they actually increase and there's different types of difficulty, I think, for each one. Everything's so random in it. You're not doing the same exact thing every time. It's more or less the same training exercise, but it'll switch it up a bit.
Yeah, some of the things that they have are what has been made famous is the color identification.
The Stroop test is what they call it.
Yeah, where they put up a word like yellow, but it's actually in black color, and you have to say black, not yellow. It sounds a lot easier than it is. The word red comes up, but it's blue. You have to say blue. And blue is one of those words that the onboard speech recognizer doesn't recognize very well. So you have to kind of learn how to say it so that it likes it.
Yeah, but you look like a real idiot because you're sitting there. And you're
blue,
like,
blue, blue,
blue,
blue, blue,
blue,
blue, blue.
So it's ridiculous. I mean, it's funny. I have my hot and cold days, but I got to tell you, the recognition's actually pretty decent overall. And,
but blue is like one of the low spots.
Blue's like it's Bane,
If you read any review of Brain Age, you're going to see they bitch about the word blue, and they perfect rights to do so.
Otherwise, you know what? That test is hysterical. Like the first time I showed it to somebody, and it's like, oh, okay, no problem. This looks easy. Yellow. Blue, black, yellow. Black.
Yeah, like they can fool the computer. It's like black. It's like
it's funny catching them, screwing up. It's great.
It's great. But anyway, so that's like one of the brain age checks. One of the other ones is they call it the number maze or the letter maze. And they put the letters A through M and the numbers like 1 through 13, I think. Yeah. They put them in these little balls all over the screen, and you have to draw through them in order. So you start on A, then you've got to draw a path and touch 1, then draw a path and touch B, draw a path and touch 2, C, 3, D, 4. And it's like, that's harder than it looks. And, of course, your speed and how many mistakes you make and all that stuff are all kind of grouped together. And they come up with an age for you, as Chris already pointed out. 20 is the lowest, and I think 80 is the highest. If you really,
Yeah, I couldn't remember offhand if it was 80 or it even went up to like 90 or 100.
But it's crazy talk, and they go ahead and they give you that number, and that's what you're striving to beat. And then you can do that brain check every day if you want to. And eventually, as you start unlocking things, this game is full of unlocks and secrets and all that other stuff, just like a good Nintendo game would be. Eventually, you'll be able to choose which brain checks that you use. Everybody's got a Bane. If you can't do that color recognition thing or you can't figure out how to say blue, you can do a brain check without ever having to do that one, even randomly, because eventually the doctor will say, hey, you're doing such a good job, let me give you a little secret. The secret is, when you do brain check, hold down select and left or something like that. And that will bypass the randomness feature and, put you in there. The game's loaded with all these little freaky things like that. When you hop in, you may get asked to draw 3 shapes or 3 things from memory.
Yeah, like a giraffe, a koala,
rhinoceros.
And then they'll compare them with the picture it already had created. I mean, it looks like Michelangelo drew its picture, but
yours looks like crap. Fortunately, you're not really scored on that. It's more a matter of trying to get your mind working.
It's just a quick mental exercise. You know what's funny? Now you bring that up before I forget. I was playing this yesterday, and I remember when I first got the game. Okay, it asked me, "What did you have to eat on April 17th?" Okay.
Yeah.
And this was like maybe April 18th. They asked me this, so it was easy. I was like, okay, no problem. I wrote it in chicken. Okay. I didn't think much of it, okay? They asked me what I had for dinner. I wrote chicken. I didn't think much of it. Yesterday, which, as we're recording this now, would have been the 24th, it asked me what I had for dinner on April 17th.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot that it asked me that question.
Yeah.
But sure enough, I wrote in, I'm like, chicken? I honestly had to think. And sure enough, it gives me the answer, and it showed exactly where I write. You write this in with the stylus, and in my handwriting, it showed me chicken. So I felt real good about myself, and the doctor, of course, said, wow, that's really good, So.
Yeah, isn't that great? I mean, it's lots.
But you're not graded on that.
You're not graded, no.
Only on the activities themselves, the little brain activities that they actually test you or grade you. But the other thing I want to bring up that I don't think you threw in there was the faster you do this, and the faster and less mistakes you make is all a part of getting this ultimate age.
Yeah.
So, the faster you say blue, yellow, red, green, black, it's going to come out better in the end instead of just waiting for it to appear. It's basing it on how fast you say it. If you say blue, it's going to appear, another one's going to show up right afterwards. The faster you say that, and so on. Or moving from that number, the number to the letter and letter number one. The faster you move back and forth, that's all going to come into play.
And, of course, you get penalized if you make a mistake.
Sure.
So it's interesting in the way that you can say, I can do the same thing in my daily newspaper. I can do the same thing with the Java Online applet. It's not to say that these things haven't been done before, but the presentation, just like Nintendo is famous for, the presentation, the way that it's laid out, the guy encourages you. If you haven't been there for a couple of days, he's like, oh, well, I haven't seen you for a couple of days. Or, hey, it's really nice you're coming by every day like this. Or,
yeah, right.
If you're playing at like 11:30 at night, he'll be like, hey, have a good time, but don't forget, sleep's important.
Yeah, right. What are you doing up this late?
What are you doing up this late, And it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's nothing, it's nothing extraordinary, but it's kind of cool that, you feel like you got a spotter,
It's a little more personal, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more personal.
Is it allergy season in your
Is it allergy season? He sneezes a couple of times. Yeah. And if you say doctor on the title screen, he'll do weird things. But anyway, so that's sort of the brain training part of it where they try to get you that gauge. And that's sort of like one review said that's the water cooler aspect of it. You can sit around the water cooler and say, hey, I scored 33. What'd you get? It's something that you could quickly banter around if you're doing well or be embarrassed of if you're doing bad. But that's only one piece of it. And the next piece of it is the actual daily events. And there's about 7 different events, if I remember right. And by the way, this is really funny. And I'm trying to work my hands around this one. But inside the manual that comes with Brain Age, they tell you what all the unlockables are. They'll actually give you an overview of every game that you're going to eventually play. But inside the game, they show up as locked and question mark, like, ooh, what's this going to be? What's this going to be? But if you look in the book, it tells you what all the hidden games are. It's like, well,
yeah,
that's kind of dumb. But
on the other hand, like you told me before, off the show, is that they actually unlock pretty quickly anyway. So
they do. Within about 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have them all unlocked.
I mean, I know there's a lot of other little things you can unlock too. Like last night, I actually completed 7 days straight. So it actually allowed me to now create my own stamp.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, because usually it's by default just a simple little red circle with an OK in the middle. And you can now actually go in. There's nothing to it. It's not some full-fledged paint program. It's
in fact, it's very limited, but it's something.
It's kind of cool. I mean,
I got a little Superman S for mine now.
Nice.
I just drew this little Super S looking thing.
Yeah, I was going to draw like a thumbs up kind of little hand.
Dude, that's creepy. I actually did a thumbs up once. I did one. I drew a thumbs up, and I said, that doesn't really look much like a thumb. How about an S? But that was one of the things I tried to do. That's so funny. But anyway, so things start to unlock, and while there's only like 7 core activities, if I remember right, I should have had the manual out, but it shows how well prepared I am. They start off with things like calculations, right? This is the thing that you see in the demo. This is the thing you see on TV and you hear about on the radio, because this is like one of the first things that's available to you. They scroll math problems up on the left. For those of you who have never seen this, you turn the DS like a book. So it's turned on its side. You write with your right hand or your left hand based on that, how you turn the DS. So it's actually on its side, so it's like a book. And a lot of people thought they wouldn't like that. And my wife was even kind of resistant at first, but it's like old hat now. It's totally comfortable. It totally makes sense, and it totally works for the game. But they run these math problems by you on the left side of the screen, and you have to write the answers in as fast as you can. And just like any other handwriting recognition thing, there's a little bit of time that you have to ramp yourself up.
You have to train yourself to a point to understand
how
it works.
4s work, how 9s work. 4s and 6s for some reason for me end up
8s.
8s, 7s, and 3s for some reason. I don't know what that's all about.
But I'd like to point out, it's nothing like the Palm system. You're not writing all these weird ways.
No, you write real things.
These are it's actually recognizing your actual handwriting. It's so much more advanced than anything like you would see on a Palm Pilot.
Absolutely. That's a good point. But you start off with like 20 of these, calculations 20. So you burn through these, and then you get a score. They also have a calculations 100 where you have to do 100 problems. But then as you progress and as you play more every single day, eventually they unlock things like easy and hard modes for calculations. So while you normally would be doing, add, subtract, and multiply, when you play in hard mode, they add division, which will just totally throw your mind because your mind's all wrapped around doing, add, subtract, and multiply. And then all of a sudden division comes up and you're going, and the whole game slides to a halt because you're not thinking that it's coming. It's like, oh crap, division, you're killing me here.
And of course, when that happens to me, when I'm sitting there and I'm stuck, you can actually hear a clock ticking in your head.
Yeah.
Wake up, you idiot!
Yeah, wake up. What's 9 divided by 3? Come on, what is it? You don't have to write fractions or anything. These are like low whole numbers. But one of the other events that they give you is there's a head count one where they put a bunch of people on the screen. They drop a house on top of the people, and then people come and go out of the house at high speed, and you're supposed to remember how many people are in the house. It's an old game. I mean, we've played it a million times. But, man, that's hard.
That last one, I have yet to beat that last one. It's insane. The people are in and out, and I can't keep up with it.
Some people have a real knack for that. It ain't me. I don't have a knack for that.
I've blasted through. I think they give you maybe 6 or so, 6 little exercises based on that. How many are in the house.
Yeah.
I get to the 6th one and I'm screwed. I cannot.
Yeah, I'm screwed. I can never get that one. Never get that one.
The first 5, no problem, but the 6th one, I am. And what's funny is the little people kind of look like the little silhouettes you'd see for a men's room.
Yeah, I love that. It looks like a little men's room silhouette. I'm thinking, man, those got to be able to go to the bathroom bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's some other games too. There's a syllable count where they give you a sentence and you have to count the syllables as fast as you can and write down the number of syllables. There's a word memorization one. I think that's part of the brain age check.
That's tough.
They give you 34-letter words. For 2 minutes, you get to sit and study it. And then for 2 minutes after that, you have to write down as many of those words as you can remember. My wife, it was classic. Speaking of which, last night my wife was playing this. And so she's all quiet over in her chair. Usually she's playing Sudoku, so she's scratching away. And she mumbles to herself when she plays Sudoku, which is really cute. But so she's over there, and she's just sitting there staring at the screen. And I'm like, honey, you okay? And he's like, shh, okay. Right, and then she looks up at me and she spews this sentence that makes zero sense. The lion went to the rock to buy, blah, blah. And she had this freaking 700-word sentence that she was memorizing that had as many of these words in it as she could come up with.
She figured she could put it in a sentence and hopefully remember it.
And she'll remember it. And actually that word, she managed to pull 19 of the 30 words.
Yeah, I think my record's a puny 8.
I got 11, I think, is about it. I just
You know what the problem is, and that's the other thing I want to bring up, is between the blue on the other game, the Stroop test.
Yeah.
They're not even games necessarily, but And the recognition in this is just so tricky. By the time I get a word recognized, sometimes I've already forgotten 2 or 3 other words that I was playing.
Exactly. And the real secret to this is, for those of you who are like still struggling, write the letters small. When you're playing the number game, it's really easy to write big, and it understands that because you're in such a hurry. But when you're writing down the words for this word recognition thing, write them small. And like Chris said, in lowercase. It won't penalize you if it reads in uppercase, but it's really hard until you figure out how to get that recognition down, because I write big anyway. And
exactly.
if I write small, it picks it up almost every time. So that might help you out.
And the thing is, the way it's presented, the little spot where you can write the letters.
Small.
Well, yeah, it's a small spot. It actually reminds me of those old workbooks we used to have back when we were in grade school. Where
picture pages.
Well, no, the ones where you had to actually, it would have the graphs, and you had to draw your letter, write your letters within that size, so that you could kind of get an idea of the structure of the letter. Where you have a line, and to draw a G, you got to draw a circle directly over top that line.
Right.
But then,
I know what you're talking about.
Your little loop for the G's got to come like so far down and connect with the other line. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
It does. It does look like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's what really brought me back. I was like, oh my God, I'm in school again.
Yeah, I know exactly. And for some people, that may not be any fun, but for those people who say, "Oh man, I don't want to do math. That's like work." Yeah, because I complain about that a lot. Right?
I hate math, but I'm having fun with it.
It's
anyway.
it's like people who are playing EverQuest, and all they do is get online, go harvest bones, and sell bones. It's like going to work. How much fun can there be in that? A lot of people are like brain age. That's like going to school when I'm not in school. But be aware. My kid, who hates math and hates school, like every 14-year-old does, she'll sit and plant her ass and play Brain Age until she can't play anymore, because she plays up everything on it for that day. So there's obviously an appeal factor here that we're missing out on. Some of the other brain games that you'll be playing are, one I just unlocked recently is Triangle Math.
Oh,
that will make you want to tear your own throat out and eat it.
It sounds like I'm going to.
Yeah, so they'll give you like 3 numbers at the top. Let's see, 4, 2, and 8. So what you'll do is you'll calculate the 4 plus 2, and then you move that number down, and that becomes 6. And then you'll do the 2 plus 8, which is 10. Then that number drops down, and then you're supposed to perform an operation on those 2 numbers. So now you have the 4 plus 2, which is 6, the 8 plus 2, which is 10. What you write is 16.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, and they change it up. Sometimes the numbers on top will be all addition. Sometimes it'll be one will be addition, one will be subtraction. Sometimes they'll have addition on the top 3, but on the second 2 is subtraction. So you'll have negative numbers too. So it's like, man, I thought I was cruising on these calculations until I got to Triangle Math, and now I'm an idiot because it takes me forever to get through those. There was like one other one that was already unlocked.
There's
Reading Aloud. That was the one.
Yeah, Reading Aloud is the one I was going to bring up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're getting on the back of the manual. Actually, it even lists the books that it's drawing these things from. But Reading Aloud is all about getting a passage from a classic literature. And I want to say it spans over both screens, and I want to say it's maybe about 4 pages or so. And you read it to yourself. You can either read it out loud or you can read it to yourself. I think it bases it. I just realized this the other night. It may base it on the fact that it's waiting to see when you're going to turn the page.
Yeah, that's how it works out.
Yeah, it's going to calculate how fast you read based on how fast you turn the page. So you can actually sit and read it to yourself. There's nothing with the microphone. The microphone is actually not taking all this in, which is why I originally thought it was.
Yeah, in fact, if you look at the guy really careful, and my wife was over there reading to herself, and I'm going, honey, the doctor told you didn't have to read it aloud. And she's like, no, it didn't. I said, yeah, he did. Because he says something like, if you feel uncomfortable reading aloud, just read to yourself. Right. And then at the end, they'll calculate your syllables per minute or syllables per second reading count. And that's how you're scored.
Right. I think I'm like 4.2 or something. I don't know. I was kind of cruising through it pretty good. But it's great because if you look in the back of the manual, you'll get a listing of all the old books that most of this text is coming from. It's really a lot of stuff. There's a lot of like old classic literature listed there. It's really
some of it's kind of boring though.
Well, yeah. You got some like Frankenstein. You get stuff like that. Pride and Prejudice. What's that one? The Portrait of Dorian Gray. All those old books.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids are probably gonna be like.
Man, I'm looking at this list really at the end, man. Hound of the Baskervilles, The Time Machine, Dracula, Gulliver's Travels.
There's some cool stuff in there, but then you get the
Moby
little snooze
Dick.
fest sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, hey,
What
the
I love
Telltale
is-
Heart's in here. That's cool.
What I think's funny is, did you see the little blurb they have above that literature, about
Let me
how
see it.
it's please understand, that some of the context of these books may be, a little offensive to certain people. More
Oh,
or
hey,
less.
here, I'll read it out to you. Here, I got the manual out.
I just thought it
Some
was
of the
funny.
works excerpted here contain language and themes that may be considered controversial to some users. However, we have chosen to present them as they originally appeared, and we ask you to understand their context in the greater canon of English literature. You know what? That's pretty cool. We're not going to censor these because we might offend somebody.
Well, they
That's
can't
great.
censor them. I mean, they're in libraries all over America already.
Yeah, but you know how it is. Come on.
Yeah, people
I mean,
get
you know
all,
people
oh,
lose
I don't
their
like
mind.
this book. I'm going to sue you.
I'm going to sue you for saying, I don't even know what you could say that would be out of the, come on, it's classic literature. I mean, if you're going to sit and chuckle about Moby Dick, I mean, that's about as far as I can see going with that one. But anyway, okay,
Whatever.
so Triangle Math was another one of them. I'm looking in here. There's the two that I haven't unlocked yet, according to the manual, are time lapse, where you determine the amount of time that's passed between two clocks. They give you two clock faces, and you determine the hours and minutes between them. That's kind of cool. My kid needs that. And it's so funny, just to segue, because people love the stories. My kid is a real huge Simpsons fan, and when she was young, like 6, 7, 8, I know what's my kid watching Simpsons for at 6, 7, and 8, whatever. Don't you judge me. When she would want to know how long it was going to take us to get somewhere, we'd get in the car and we'd be going to Grandma's house or whatever. She'd like, how long is it going to be? Well, dude, she doesn't know hours and minutes. So everything was based around the Simpson episode. It's going to be 3 episodes of Simpsons until we get to Grandma's house. That's how my kid learned to generate time.
That's great.
It's great. Anyway, I just had to segue on that because that was a cool story. And then finally, voice calculation. Solve these calculation problems, then speak the answer into the microphone. So it's like the mathematical calculations one, except for you actually speak instead of write the numbers down. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, the Number Cruncher. This is another one of those ones.
That's the one I was trying to remember, Number Cruncher.
They put a bunch of numbers on the screens, different colors. Some of them are rotating. Some of them are pulsating. Some of them are sliding. And they ask you these questions like, how many black numbers are there? Well, 3. How many red numbers are there? 2. How many numbers are rotating? 1, 2, 3. How many 8s are there? So you have to count all the 8s that are all the different colors and rotating and sliding.
Yeah, it gets really difficult because what happens is the numbers overlap themselves.
Yeah.
So when you may look at one, you may not be able to even make out what number it is because it's over top of like an 8 over a 6. So that really cuts you in some time there.
Dr. Kawashima.
Nice.
That's our guy. Like that? Well, that's an easy Japanese name. I can even say that.
$10 for the first name.
Ryuta?
Ryuta?
Ryuta. I don't know. I'm more the pace of that one's not really working out for me. But anyway, now, so that's kind of the overall thing. That's the overall game, except for the Sudoku part, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I'm going to let Chris talk about that, so he can give you all the fine details because he's played more Sudoku games than I have, and he can compare and contrast.
Oh yeah.
A couple of things I do want to mention about Brain Age before we wrap up the main meat of it, before we move on to Sudoku, is first of all, everything is scored. That's what's cool about this game. Well, almost everything, except for like drawing the pictures and stuff like we've already talked about. But anytime you're doing a real activity, it's tracked, scored, and commented upon. So if you start playing April 1st, and on April 5th you just finished out, you can see a graph showing your progress over the last 5 days. So everything, it's not like you feel like you're doing things for nothing. They have a top 3 score for every game. So if you're trying to solve that puzzle a little faster, or you're trying to reduce the amount of time it takes you to do the calculations 100 in hard mode, you have a goal. And that's what to me makes this more of a game than a non-game. A lot of people say, well, Nintendo's just making non-games like Nintendogs.
Yeah,
and
it's
even
like you're playing
Nintendogs,
against yourself.
Nintendogs, okay, great. Okay, granted. Nintendogs had a trainer points, but that really wasn't much of a score.
No.
So you're right. Okay, Nintendogs, there really wasn't a lot of merit. Your dogs won competitions, fine. Okay, you got money, fine. But in this game, there really is a push for There's a scoring system. There's a ranking system. There is a tangible line of a graph that you can see your progress. It's designed to be more game-like, and I think that's important for people to understand.
Well, ultimately, if you get a high score, your high score is to reach 20.
Yeah, you have a score, and
to maintain that.
Absolutely.
So if you think of it that way, anyway, I mean, it's almost like you have a high score, which is 20, because that's the lowest you can go. So anybody under 20 years old, you're kind of out of luck, you know. I think the game was kind of developed for older people as it was, you know, more of adult audience. I think that's what their whole point of the game is, trying to branch out a little bit and get more people involved.
Absolutely.
You know, just in gaming and this handheld in general, you know. So you're not going to get much lower than 20. That's it, actually. So
yeah, that's it.
That's your high score. That's say like you're playing Galaga and the high score is 198,000 or something. Well, you know, you're trying to beat that. In this, you're trying to get to the 20. Just think of it like that. It's kind of a game in that respect.
Yeah. So, and the other bonus, of course, on this is that the game itself is $20.
Yeah,
$19.99. What a deal!
I think that's great there, and that just shows you they're trying to push that as far as they can.
Absolutely, and so that's
people are going to want to eat up $20 before they'll eat up $30 or $35. You know.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the last piece of it, which is Sudoku.
Sudoku, yes.
Yes. Tell the folks about that.
Thanks to this Brain Age game, I've actually sat down and managed to take the time and patience to figure out how to play this. I see people playing this all the time, but I've never really put much thought into it, you know. Because I'm not really one of those people that actually does crossword puzzles and secret words and all that in the paper. So when I sat down, the thing actually gave me a nice little tutorial. So I was able to sit here and figure out finally on my own, you know, how to play this, and it was really cool. It was shocking to me because I originally thought it had to involve some kind of math, which really turned me off since I'm not a big math fan to begin with. It's kind of my bane, you know. So loading this up, I was like, wow, this isn't that bad. I could figure this out, you know. And you don't really need to know. You don't really need to have this game. This is nothing that you can't go to like your local bookstore and pick up. You know, they got tons of Sudoku books out there right now. You know, you can pick them up for anywhere from $4 to $10. You know, so what's nice is that they added this, and it really, I think, broadens the audience even more. I think there's about 100 different puzzles, and each of them has a different difficulty degree. You start out with basic, intermediate, and then goes on to. Actually, I didn't unlock it, so I don't know its official name yet. But I want to say, I guess it would be hard or high difficulty.
Yeah, I would assume so. Basic, intermediate, and then whatever the third one is going to be hard, yeah.
But you get a little tutorial puzzle. You get like 4 for each of these difficulty levels that you can perform, it looks like. You know, so you start out doing them. It kind of shows you the ropes, how to play. You know, if you're any kind of interest in Sudoku, the way it's presented here is really, really nice. I was really amazed at how nice they pulled off the whole interface because you're actually writing the letters. So anybody who's used to doing this in a book, you know, actually handwriting the numbers or in a newspaper, from my understanding, in England, they're a real staple in the newspapers over there these days. So if you're used to anything like that, you're going to really be at home with this because you're going to be using the stylus, you know, the writing in your numbering system, and the recognition is actually really good. It's a lot better than it was for the letters. And it's more or less the same recognition you had in the multiplication problems, I guess. I actually want to say it might be even a little better.
Yeah, it seems to be better, and I'm not sure whether it's because I don't know why it would be. I'm sure they use the same engines, but
I'm wondering if it's because they added this on last, because this wasn't even in the Japanese version of the game.
Good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, maybe they advanced it a little bit between now and then, so it's a U.S. release and tacked it on that they've actually improved upon it.
That's very possible. I still have problems with like 3s and 7s.
Right.
And there's still a couple of numbers that are my banes, but. And if you're going for a point value, which is how long it takes you to solve the puzzle,
right?
Every mistake costs you 20 minutes of game time. So you don't want to even make one mistake.
You get 5 mistakes.
5 mistakes total.
And it's over. It'll stop the game if you get over 5 mistakes. You hit those 5 mistakes, it's over. You got to start the whole puzzle over. You know, I'm so crazy about this game that I've actually replayed the same puzzle I don't know how many times because I'm trying to get the best time.
Isn't that crazy?
So far, I think I've only done about 8 or 9 puzzles. But then again, I'm trying to save it up a little bit because I'm going to be going away next month. So I figure I'll be playing this on the airplane. So I'm trying not to blow through them too fast. But I've been going back and I've been trying to achieve at least no more than less than 10 minutes worth of puzzle time for each Sudoku. So so far I've been doing pretty well. I mean, I've had anywhere from 5 to 6 to 7 minutes per each puzzle.
Now, what's useful to talk about too with this, and this is something I don't really use it, but a lot of people do, and they think it's the bee's knees, and I'm sure that eventually I'll have to use it if I want to be competitive. But when you write down numbers, when you're actually writing down the numbers, what happens is they bring you up the Sudoku grid, you click on a number box that's empty, and it zooms up the box to almost like a full screen, and then you write the number in the box.
Left screen too.
And then and then the puzzle goes to the left, so you can see where everything is in relation to where you're looking. And then you write the number in. Well, if you write it in big, it commits that number. You can't change it. But if you're just thinking, you're trying to exercise the thinking process, you can write small numbers. And the small numbers are non-committal. They won't tell you if you're right or wrong.
Or placeholder.
But they're a placeholder. And apparently, for Sudoku people, that's it. I mean, that's like the best feature ever for people who are really diehard into this. I still don't use it. But I imagine in later puzzles I may have to.
It actually throws me off, much like the shadow piece in Tetris.
Absolutely. To me, it's like, what is that? What is that one in there? That's just freaking me out. But in later puzzles, I could definitely see that becoming an issue. One of the other things that people really came down on Sudoku in the DS or on Brain Age rather, is that there's only 100 puzzles. It's like, well, that's not a lot of puzzles. Yeah. Well, okay, first of all, 100 puzzles is more puzzles than it seems like. And second of all, the puzzles get progressively harder. I'm still in the basic puzzles. I'm on page 2, and I'm like 2 or 3 puzzles in. And I'm telling you, it's taking me 22 minutes to do a puzzle on that second page. It's hard to me. I don't know how they make it harder. But the puzzles are canned. In other words, they're not randomly generating these when you're playing them. They're canned puzzles. And I think to some extent there's an advantage. A lot of people are like, well, Sudoku, they could just generate random puzzles. They don't have to, they don't have to be canned.
That's something I was reading about. They were talking about how there's actually computer-generated ones that just aren't as good. I don't know how, but they're not as good as ones that are hand-created.
Well, yeah, because there's got to be a level of difficulty, and there's got to be something intelligent, and I haven't figured out the pattern yet, about what makes one Sudoku puzzle harder than another one.
I think I've kind of figured it out to a point.
Oh, you have figured it out?
Now, I'm not no expert at this game. I mean, a Sudoku. I mean, this is kind of a new thing within the last month, but I'm all of a sudden now seeing what the big addiction and fad is, so to speak. But it looks to me that the less numbers you get from the beginning.
Right, that's definitely a factor.
Obviously, that's a factor right there. That's something obvious to me.
Yeah.
But not only that, but their placement on there. Placement on the grid. Those are the two big factors I kind of figured out early on. Now, whether there's something else to it, I'm not sure, but it seems to me I don't see what else they could really add.
Well, the one other thing, I'll add to that because I see where you're going. The one other thing I found is the first thing I look at when I pull up a new puzzle is what's the most common number on the screen.
Exactly.
If there's a lot of 5s, then you can use those 5s to cross out and triangulate and do all this hooty-hoo to get the 5s in the other boxes.
Right.
So the more of a number there is, or the less diverse the numbers are, the more and easier it is to do process of elimination and fill in the blanks. The thing about Sudoku that bothers me the most is this thing's been around for like ever. Sudoku's been around since the beginning of time, I think.
It was created by an American guy.
Was it really? I didn't know
That's
that.
what I read. Yeah, an American guy in the 70s actually created it. But what
happened
was,
a long time.
It was a local thing, and it didn't really catch on here. But then, some guy from England actually came over and I think he discovered it. And what happened was the Japanese adapted it, and that's where it really got the ball rolling. The Japanese caught wind of it and got the ball rolling. And that's kind of they're the ones that really, I guess you want to say, matured the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just funny that stuff's been around like for 30, 40 years, and all of a sudden somebody manages to make it mainstream. And then everyone thinks it's like something brand new, and it gets this
like
big
an MP3 player and Apple and iPods.
I mean, just as one of these cool little side stories. I was watching the news. It couldn't have been a year ago, a year or less, and the newscaster newscasters are retarded. I mean, I haven't found a single morning show that the newscasters don't act like blithering idiots. But the one guy's like, yeah, then we'll check in with that cool new fad MP3s. I'm going, dude, MP3s? Dude, this has been around for like 10 years. And you're just now getting around to it, and it's new? Was it because the iPod came out, all of a sudden it's a new shut up. Shut up. And I hit the remote control. Click, 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 click. Just shut up. I'm going to turn over to CNN. Anyway, so.
Well, it's just like the
fad stuff bugs me.
It's just like the child molesters, attacking the little kids on the Nintendo DS Wi-Fi, sending dirty messages. So, yeah.
How'd you segue into that? That's pretty good.
Well, because, it's like...
Oh, the media. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the media. You don't see anything on the news about, like, the Nintendo DS, but, oh, my God, my daughter, our video games, this new system could be the key to all those child molesters getting your children. News at 11, So
yeah, exactly.
It's like, come on now. I mean, give me a break. And meanwhile, there's nothing... All the information is completely wrong, and that's basically what I'm getting at. I mean,
he was 7,000 miles away in a small Albanian town, and he is, stalking your daughter in a restaurant.
Nintendo DS using a program called PictoChat to stalk your child. Yeah, like, well, first of all, you got to be within pretty much 20 feet of the person.
I know.
It's like
look at the scary dude over the next table, hovering over this little DS. Maybe that's your guy.
Yeah, the whole point is, it's amazing how the media just gets this stuff wrong.
I know, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I know what you're saying. And it always bugs me every time a fad comes around that really pisses me off that I get into it. I'm still not going to watch American Idol. I'm still not going to watch Survivor.
Oh, I never liked either of them anyway.
Yeah, but it's like this water cooler talk. It's like, oh, you Macy baby.
Hey, did you see Friends last night?
Did you watch that Friends reunion special? No, leave me alone. You're pissing me off. So anytime something like, Sudoku
what's your
comes
brain
along,
age today?
What's your brain age? Yeah, amazingly enough.
So we're going to be kicking ourselves later because next week everybody's going to have this game. Especially I heard that Oprah is going to be advertising it. So
no, she's not.
Yeah, so now all of a sudden, every mother in America is going to be, video games are great. I heard it from Oprah,
Yeah. Oh, did you get brain age? It's like, yeah, you know what? I had it for like a month before Oprah opened her fat trap. So I don't want to hear about how you're suddenly enlightened. Go drive an SUV. Yeah, I hate the mass. I hate that fad for the masses crap, and it drives me crazy.
And they come along and ruin it.
And then Sudoku comes up, and it's like, you know what? I've got this game here. I played all my daily training. I might as well just try it out.
That happened to me.
Sure enough, I got freaking hooked, dude.
That happened to me with South Park. I remember when South Park first came out. Nobody watched it, and I'm like, wow, this is a cool little show. And all of a sudden, you got their merchandise in the window, and forget it.
South Park.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it drives me crazy.
If brain age does get to that point, it's not going to be a problem with me because I think it's cool that maybe more people will get into playing the DS. It's a really neat little system.
If nothing, from a promotional standpoint, I mean, Nintendo is marketing this so well. I mean, you can't turn on any educational channel or program without hearing about brain age. I mean, it was on the Discovery Channel, it was on NPR radio,
BBC.
BBC. Okay. Some people made some valid points in the forum. It's not like these little brain teasers haven't been around forever. I mean, we've already talked about that. They've been in the newspaper for like 100 years, since paper was invented, for crying out loud. Reader's Digest has a page of them. But you're introducing it into a new media and in a new format. You're not graded. When you do it out of the newspaper, you don't have a score to go after. So Nintendo needs to be given a little bit of credit for taking something and making it into something fun and entertaining. My kid doesn't want to sit down and do multiplication tables, but she'll sit and plan her ass on brain age for 2 hours. There's value in that. And I think it's really sad that, a lot of people are like, well, it's not that big of a deal and it doesn't really help your brain and you could basically bite your fingernails and get the same mental stimulation. It's like, whatever. Are you having a good time?
Yeah, exactly. What I think is cool is it's something you can just put in your pocket. I mean, the DS is small enough that you can throw it in your pocket and pick it out any time of the day, flip it on, do your little thing, put it away. You don't have to sit there and go buy a newspaper. And the value there is every day it's changed. It's a random. It's the same game, but it's random, just like your crossword puzzle or your anagrams or Seeker word. Seeker word it's just new words every day.
Yeah. I'm gonna go grab a newspaper and carry that around in my pocket.
Right. I mean, this is nice. You can just pull it out. You can lay in bed, at night and play it, or it's in a whole new, like you said, for a whole new audience, I guess. I mean, in that, or a whole new format of playing it. Plus,
and people really hate the fact that Brain Age is getting press. I mean, they really hate it.
Yeah. Plus, you're not getting the ink from the newspaper all over your fingers.
Oh, my God. Don't even get me started on that. Yeah, I remember I used to go to class, like I was saying. I used to read the paper all the time, and I have newsprint all over my hands, and somehow I get on my face, and I look like more of a retard than I already was, And
then if you have a white DS Lite, you're going to get
man,
ink
you
all
imagine
over.
that?
That'd be horrible.
Prints. Anyway, so that's pretty much Brain Age in a nutshell, folks. For $20, it's a whole lot easier than $34.95. It's available everywhere. Now pretty much what it's all about. And if it sounds even remotely interesting to you, then you're probably going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, there's pretty much what we said is pretty much what it is. If any kind of things like this, like any kind of mental little activities that you like to play, puzzles, you're really going to like this, I think. So that's all there really is to say about it.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun.
Up to you if you decide that thinking is fun.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with getting a little mental agility. I'll tell you what, folks. It's like, oh, well, these are easy. Where's the challenge in these, 5 times 6 and 4 plus 0? Where's the challenge in that?
That puts you on the spot, though.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, 7s and 8s in my multiplication tables are pretty rusty. 8 times anything, 7 times anything. I have a real problem with it because when I use my little brain calculator, everyone has little cheats and shortcuts for how they do things. With me, it's 10s and 5s. If I see a 5 times 6, I'm thinking 5 times 5, and then add another 5. That's how I do it. So 5 times 6 is really 5 times 5 plus 5. And that to me is a lot easier than trying to remember 5 times 6 is 30, because everyone knows your 5s. Everybody knows your 10s, right? 10 times 6,
right.
10 times 7.
And 11s.
And 11s. Those are all really super easy. But those 7s and 8s, they're not in range of 10, and they're not in range of 5. And I'll tell you what, folks. My multiplication table skills suck. And Brain Age is helping me remember those. I mean, not that, you use multiplication every single day, but it's interesting to identify your weak spots. And my weak spots are 7 and 8s in my multiplication tables. And this helps you out. My kid is 14 years old and she doesn't know her multiplication tables. She needs Brain Age. When she was grounded, she did something stupid, her grade slipped or something. We took away the TV, we took away the DS, we took away her social life. We still let her play Brain Age because she needs the frickin' math. So it's useful. If you're a parent and your kids are struggling with math, this is a good solution because it's fun.
I got to tell you, too, when I play that multiplication test, it's not even the fact that I can't remember what 8 times 7 is, but sometimes I'm in such a hurry to do it that I'll see it as 8 plus 7.
Right.
And then I'll get that wrong. I'm like, damn, so it's something like that because you're trying to do it as fast as you can. And that right there is a trick, trying to do these things at a specific speed.
Yeah, and you start getting into those trances. Like when I do the calculation 100s, my eyes kind of glaze over. Right? I don't blink. I don't blink for the entire calculations 100. It's like, ding, ding, ding. It's so funny because it sounds like a cash register. Like if you're listening to somebody else playing it. And it's so funny. I'll be sitting at work, and all my coworkers are playing it that have DSs.
Now, you know what? Before I interrupt you, I realized that's one thing we forgot to mention, the multiplay.
Oh, how could we? See, this is why our frickin' reviews drag on, is because we forget stuff and we bring it up later. Let me finish my thing, and then we'll do the multiplayer thing. Anyway, so you're sitting there at your desk, and I'm sitting here coding away, click, 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 and I hear this, ding, 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 ding. It's one of those identifiable sounds, It's like, one of the top identifiable sounds on the planet, like that, on ICQ. It's the same thing. If you hear that, you've got mail. You know that sound. It's like, oh, he's playing calculations. And it's like, ding, ding, and you hear this, damn it, ding, ding. It's priceless. I mean, if you've heard it, you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, so it's interesting to play in a group of people, even though it's not, you're not playing multiplayer, they're not even on the same DS, so you're not even tracking your scores against each other. But it's funny. It's funny what people will come up with. One of my coworkers, he does not have a DS, but we're like an inch away from convincing him he has to have one. We gave him the color test. What do they call it? The Stroop test?
The Stroop.
Stroop test.
STROOP.
The Stroop test. And he's like, well, I can do this. And he takes his glasses off so he can't read the word. I'm like, you cheating bastard. He's like, yeah.
Cheating himself, though.
He's cheating himself, and it's like, you Kobayashi Maru bitch. He starts laughing. Because only, like 2 people in the entire office would even understand what Kobayashi Maru is, and he was one of them, so he thought that was like the funniest thing ever. And then I read later on another review that some guy was cheating by crossing his eyes or blurring his eyes so he couldn't read the words.
Or
it's like, you know what?
Or kind of looking off corner to the screen, yeah.
It's like, who are you cheating? It's like reading ahead in a book.
You might as well go to GameFAQs.com, man.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway, let's definitely talk for a second about the multiplayer. Since I've been gabbing so much, why don't you tell them about it?
Well, it's mainly comprised of the multiplayer, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, unless there's some other aspect that's unlocked.
Yeah,
right?
It's a calculations 20.
Yeah.
Or 10.
At least
20?
That's the only one I've seen. I think that's the only multiplayer you have.
It's the only multiplayer that's on there.
It's like 16 people, isn't it?
Yeah, you can play 16 people on a single
card. We're going to have to adjust that, too, in the archive.
Yeah. I upped the limit on the archive, so we can change it now.
I was blown away by the fact you can do that. I mean, basically, you're just doing these little timed races with people to see who can get through it faster.
And you're ranked, so it's like a calculations 30.
It's really simplistic, but it's just nice that they threw it in there. And if you get 16 people, I can't imagine how you do that. But, I mean...
and you're ranked, it's like 1 of 2,
right.
1 of 16, 2 of 16. You race through 30 calculations, and whoever does it the fastest wins. I mean...
I've been reading some people have been getting really heated fights going on with these things.
That's crazy.
It gets down to the nitty-gritty, 12 seconds, and whatnot, and people just start going ballistic over the big fights.
And the other thing we should talk about before we wrap this up, too, is... there is a DS download version as well. And to me, this is like icing on the cake. And I don't understand why every game on the planet doesn't do this. But you're able to transmit a downloadable demo version of Brain Age to anybody you want. So they can actually play the age check. They can actually play a couple of the daily training games. And they could take it home and play it until they shut their DS off. And
I think the big thing there is you actually get one full puzzle of Sudoku to play.
Yeah, how cool is that?
See, for me, I'll tell you what, the Sudoku, even though it's only 100 levels or puzzles, whatever, I don't really care because I'm only at like number 8 right now, so I know I've been doing it for a long time. That alone for me was worth the cash. I mean, the other stuff was more or less icing on the cake.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I've heard a lot of people say that basically
the implementation of it is just really amazing.
It's super smooth, and Chris has actually played, and I dabbled a little bit, but not nearly as much as he has. Some other electronic versions of Sudoku, including a Japanese budget import. And I'll tell you what, Brain Age pretty much just wipes up the floor so far.
It just nailed it. It just nailed it the way it's presented. I mean, there's a puzzle. There's a budgie title out in Japan. It's from a well-known company, Hudson. They've been around for a while, and they're usually pretty good with quality games. And it's kind of a hybrid between the D-pad, the buttons, and the stylus. But the way it's implemented is nowhere near as clean and smooth and polished as this is. It's still a decent title, and it's a budget title.
It's like 400 puzzles, I think, in that version.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them. And I was like, wow, look at them all. When you load up the beginning set, 1 to whatever 50 or something, you get them all listed. You can pick any one you want, I think, at any time. But it's really cool. And if you go to an import site like Playsia or like Sang, and it's like $29.99 because over there in Japan, like I said, it's a budget title, which I think transmits to about $20 US. But then you add in the import costs and all that baloney, so you're up to the $30. I played around with it a little bit. It's not a bad game. So if you are a Sudoku fan, you may want to check it out. There is some Japanese involved, but
it's pretty lightweight. Even I can wade through it.
Sure, yeah. There's nothing really going on. As long as you want to just get into the meat of the game, you'll be fine. You can change the music, the background. Personally, I'd rather have no music. But
yeah, really.
All things aside, it's nothing compared to what Brain Age has done. And I'm really. It looks like Nintendo's going to hopefully bring out its own Sudoku based on this.
I can't wait.
I'm really psyched for it. I mean, while I'm into this, I might as well play it. I'm sure there's going to be a point where I'm just going to be fired up over it to the point where, okay, I'm done. I don't want to play this ever again. My brain's just going to fry. Because I'm getting so tired of it. But right now, I'm a little bit here and there. I'm not sitting here playing it for hours of the day, but if I'm on the crapper or something, it's great.
Oh yeah, dude, Sudoku is perfect for crapping games. I mean, literally, you can sit on the crapper and bust out if you're doing the easier puzzles, like 8 to 10 minutes for me.
Right.
But on those hard ones, dude, 22 minutes, you start getting piles or something sitting on the toilet that long. So you got to,
like me, you're about a 5 to 10 minute, crapper visit. So,
so that works
perfect.
out. Yeah. That's a perfect crapper game. But anyway, so Brain Age, just to wrap things up, good quality value. I got a stylus up myself. I think it's a great value.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to be getting a little upset with us because we're doing so many, good reviews, but look at the release list lately. There's been a lot of good games out.
Yeah, trust me, when things start getting slow over the summer, we're going to go and eradicate a lot of the older back catalog titles.
We'll go back a little bit. Yeah.
We'll take care of you. We're going to make sure that we talk smack. Oh, hey, while I'm thinking about it, in terms of value, I think it was World Championship Poker at Target for like $9 or something like that. Yeah, that's a good pickup. That's the other thing we should add to one of our regular segments is, well, maybe not a regular one, but anytime we see like a really smoking value, somebody who's picking up copies of Sprung for like $6.99 or something somewhere. For $6.99, Sprung's a decent deal, especially if you've got kids, because kids love that thing. So maybe we should talk about that. Maybe add that to our touch and go.
Well, actually, I saw this week. It looks like Best Buy's, unless you go up to the register, you wouldn't know it, but from what I read, Pack Picks is like $9.99 at Best Buy.
See, Pack Picks is a great deal for $9.99.
So $9.99 for Pack Picks. That's a steal.
That's a steal deal.
I mean, it's for $10.
Yeah.
The other game I saw, and that's the other thing. I don't know how far we're going to go with this, but Ping Pals is $4.99 at Circuit City.
Yeah, you know what? Everyone gives Ping Pals such a bad rap, but I've ended up getting them for like $6 a copy. This was like a year ago. I found some smoking deals.
That's how good it was. A year ago it was in the discount.
It was $6, yeah. But anyway, I picked them up, and I was just kind of curious to see, what it was, because everyone gave it such a piss poor thing. And it's like, hey, you can play mini games between two people. Hey, I'm kind of down for mini games, so I wanted to pick it up and look at it. And you win coins to unlock stuff. It's actually, if you've ever seen, like at Target or at Walmart, they have these they're like little instant messengers that kids can buy that have these really simple games that you can play between them. I think like Cyberco or something like that.
They
you know
look
what
like
I'm talking about?
Almost like a little Fisher-Price kind of IM device.
It's
All
like
it does is IM.
Yeah, it does like little IMs, and it does things like, guess the word, and it sends like a hangman word to both players, and somebody has to finish them first.
For the preschool set, more or less. Not preschool, grade school.
It's for the preschool slant tweeners, the tweeners that can't afford. Yeah. And I was looking at it, it's like, this isn't that bad. Okay, it's not a $30 title, but for $6, what a deal.
That would be cool.
And there's a lot of things you can do alone, too. It's not like PictoChat, where basically if you play it alone, there's nothing to do. If you play Ping Pals alone, you can actually, play with the computer. There's a 20 questions game in there. There's things to do alone. And my kid was engaged in it for quite a while. And even I played around with it. I said, you know what? This gets a really bad rap, but, for $6, it was a deal. For $10, it would have been a deal. So, normally, THQ on the box, you got to run, but in this case, it turned out to be okay. So we're going to look at a bunch of these old titles eventually.
Yeah, it'll be nice to go back a little bit when, like you said, things slow down. We'll do a little back catalog.
Yeah, I have a feeling that once the new Super Mario comes out, things are going to slow way down for a little while.
Yeah, I don't really see a whole lot of big games coming out over the summer.
I figure come November, when fall and winter comes, we're going to start seeing them really pick back up for the Christmas season especially.
All that stuff we were shown or going to be shown at E3 is finally going to be making itself in the store. So
I'm stoked. I can't wait, dude. This is going to be a great year for DS.
Yeah, things just get better. I mean, the people are starting to get a hang of the system. How to program for it. And
I see it in more and more people's hands, and people are picking them up. Just this week, 2 guys in my martial art class picked them up. Nice. So they both got electric blues. Speaking of what's coming up, we have our regular coming attractions segment. And Chris already mentioned one, which is Sudoku Mania, which is part of the Nintendo's new Touch generation is what they're calling it. It looks like they're making a product line specifically. Actually, go ahead.
What? Not to interrupt you, but Sudoku Mania is not the Nintendo one that we are going to be talking about.
This is really?
It's from a totally different company.
Oh, really? What was the Nintendo one?
I believe I have it in our news section here.
Okay, I'm just getting ahead of myself. Never mind.
So why don't we take this one for what it is?
Yes.
I don't actually have a whole lot of information on it. It's Sudoku Mania is what it's called, though. But it's not the Nintendo one. Nintendo is actually coming out with their, as we already mentioned, they're actually going to branch out and bring out their own Sudoku game at some point called Gridmaster. We actually had it on our news section on DSR, on the main news site. I posted it last week, I think. But Nintendo's going to be coming out with their own line of I guess, I don't know how to explain them really. But is it Touch Generation?
They call them the Touch Generation, which is supposed to be a product line designed for, I imagine we're going to see a lot of puzzle-type games.
Yeah.
A lot
I
of...
think they saw that Brain Age is kind of taking off, and they're probably just going to kind of, improve upon that and bring out a whole market just based on those type of games.
That's great.
A whole little genre.
Especially if they keep them budget. Good for them.
Right, but they're coming out with Sudoku Gridmaster as one of their first titles.
Yeah.
And we'll try to get a link for that because I did see a link on IGN for it at one point. So I saw it the other day. So we'll see if we can get a link up on the site maybe for that. It'll be part of our news section. But this Sudoku Mania, I don't think I have anything really up on it. There's really not a whole lot of information.
No, just the release date. That's
I don't even really know who this company is. The company's coming up as UFO Interactive. It's one of these other third-party companies that's just jumping on the bandwagon.
Let's hope they don't turn out to suck.
Yeah, it's saying endless gameplay, so I don't know if it's going to be a random generator, because I think Nintendo's Gridmaster actually will be using some kind of a random generation type of puzzle thing, so that you'll always have a different Sudoku puzzle to play.
Yeah, I'm cool with like a hybrid. Give us some predefined puzzles that go from easy to hard, and then give us the random generator that
Sure, to get us started.
To give us some more value out of it. I'm always in for value.
Right.
Keep the value going.
And overall, though, this summer, as we were saying, I don't think it looks like there's actually quite a few games coming out this week.
Yeah.
But anyway, the coming attractions, we got, as Shane pointed out, Sudoku Mania. That's coming out May 30th. That's actually at the later end of the month. Coming out in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have, mostly in May, we're going to have the game based on the movie Over the Hedge, which, after seeing the previews, I wasn't really impressed by it. I'm not really one of these computer-generated movie DreamWorks. DreamWorks isn't really doing it for me. I mean, I liked Shrek, but that was about it.
Yeah.
It almost seems like they're trying too hard to ape what Pixar's doing.
Right.
But anyway, there's going to be a game coming out now. It kind of bothers me because I was hoping games like this wouldn't be coming out for the DS. I thought maybe they would be sticking those kind of games for the Game Boy Advance now that the Game Boy Advance is getting games like Cabbage Patch Kids,
right.
Yard Adventure, things like that. Barbie's New Donkey,
Yeah, Barbie's New Donkey. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, but the DS is getting over the hedge. I don't have a whole lot of information about it.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that one of the guys that's in the creation of the game claims that it's actually a pretty decent game, but of course, why would you say that? Yeah.
And who cares? Because like 6 days later, the new Super Mario Brothers comes out.
Exactly.
And
which is what was on our next on our list here.
Yeah. See, you like my segue there?
I like that.
Yeah, thank you. No, but I mean, and again, who knows? I've heard that it got pushed back again to June. But the retailers are still showing it as 5/15, so we're going to go with what the retailers are telling us.
Even the main website was showing 5/15.
Oh, was it? Okay, then I guess the June delay was a bunch of hooey-hoo, because I heard that it got pushed back to June to correspond with the DS Lite thing, blah, blah. Who cares? Well, retailers are saying 5/15.
In the forum, we have a thread, saying that New Super Mario Brothers delayed to June, but it's also an older thread that keeps getting bumped.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with threads. They get bumped.
Yeah, and that was before the website, I think, even came out. Because the website, if I'm not mistaken, is still saying 5/15. At one point, it was saying 5/21.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
But needless to say, it looks like it is coming out sometime in the middle of May. So
yeah, I'm just dying. And we've got some more information we're going to cover for you in Touch and Go, so we won't drag this out too much. The final game on our list is X-Men, the official game. And I'm telling you, Activision used to be like the bee's knees. When you heard Activision, you thought quality. When you think Activision on the DS, you think, what the hell were they thinking?
Right up there with EA is what's going on with Activision.
It's like Activision and EA are dying to kill the DS because they got some secret pact.
All about
and, what is that? Greg's Paintball Max?
Yeah, Greg something's Paintball.
Crappy game.
I mean, I could have drawn up a better cover art on my Palm Pilot paint.
Dude, Whack-A-Mole, which also came out from Activision, is 10 times a better game than that Greg's paintball.
Now, before we hear any bitching in the email, yes, okay, they did Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. I honestly haven't played it. It sounds like everybody loves it. It's supposed to be a good game. Okay, fine, great. We got one fantastic.
One game of like 20. Hey, even EA did FIFA, so what did they get, one?
Yeah.
One title for like 20 crapware titles. So I'm not overly excited about the whole X-Men thing. The only thing that I have seen on X-Men that gives me any hope at all is the fact that the DS version and the Game Boy Advance version are totally separate games. We're not going to get the Episode 3 issue where part of the game on the DS is exactly the same game
totally
as the Game Boy Advance. So
what's sad, though, is the Game Boy Advance game actually looks a little better.
It's sad. But remember the trick with the DS. The screenshots never look as good as the game unless the game really, really sucks.
But on the other hand, this is a movie-based game, which means it's probably going to suck because most of them do suck.
Licensed games, man. I don't know what the deal is, but people lost their freaking minds, man. And
moving on.
Moving
we got
along.
What's out currently, it's a huge week this week.
It's a huge week this week.
I know at least 2 games that I'm interested in. Maybe the third, which I'm kind of interested in, and the fourth, no interest at all, because you kind of given us your initial thoughts on it, and you didn't think it was too good. I'm talking about Top Gun, but
yeah, we'll see about that one. That one could totally rule. I just couldn't read Japanese when I looked at the info, so it's really hard to perform missions when they're telling you how to do stuff, or telling you what to do, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Well, the first game, actually, there's 2 games coming out today as we do the show, the 25th of April. Guilty Gear Dust Strikers, which we've already mentioned before. It's a long-running series. They've been on Xbox, PlayStation 2, originated on the PlayStation 1. This time you're going to be able to use both screens as a playfield, which kind of looks interesting. You're going to be able to jump up, all the way onto the top screen. We'll see how that is. Hopefully we'll get a review at some point. You might want to check out the reviews. We're not sure, but some of the artwork looks pretty cool. It's all 2D. So
it does. I like
see what happens. It's a fighting game. So if you're into that kind of thing, it definitely looks worth checking out, especially if it's under $30. Okay, coming up on the 25th, which is also today, we have Lost Magic, another big title that everybody's been waiting for. It seems like it's been long coming now. We've been hearing so much about it. I'm kind of on the fence with it, though. I don't really know what it's about. I do know it sounds like a real-time strategy fantasy game. But judging from the video and the still shots I've seen so far, I'm still not quite getting what kind of mechanics are involved. And I know you're kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it, and mostly because I'm an RTS whore, first of all. And so far, let's be honest, we haven't had a good real-time strategy game yet. I mean, the real-time conflict, the Shogun game was just a huge disappointment.
That looked horrible.
It was horrible. It was just horrible. So what do we have left? Well, Age of Empires went turn-based, so there's no real-time strategy there. So this is sort of kind of the first jump into that. And as a bonus, I'm a real big fan of runic magic. I always thought that the concept, I mean, if you look at it, look back at any fantasy series almost, in books, stories, almost all magic is done with some sort of a gesture, right? The waving of the wand, the Harry Potter crap, the raising of the staff, the tracing of runes in the air. It's all very, it's all very magic-like. And this will be, how else do you call it? It's very theatrical. Yeah. It's very, profound. And I always thought that, casting a spell should be more than hitting S to bring up your spell book, hitting 1 to cast Fireball.
Right.
I always thought that there was something missing from that. And, some people have tried to make magic work by doing, motions almost like Mortal Kombat moves, left, down,
basically,
right.
What
button.
You're saying is we need some interaction with casting these spells in these fantasy games.
Absolutely. It's there's a lot of games. There's some things that are encumbering about Magic, like regiments, right? And I'm talking to all you fantasy geeks out there, because I know there's more than one of you play Dungeons and Dragons. I know you guys. And there was always a problem. If you wanted to cast a fireball, you had to have some bat wing and some toadstool. And then you had to mix them all together in a certain way. It took you 3 spell casting turns to cast.
Rat feces.
Okay, rat feces, rat droppings. Yes, I can say rat droppings. That does not mean I wish to eat them. No, so there's something that Magic should be a little more prolific than hitting the X button. To
Yeah.
me, I always thought that way. I mean, I'm a Diablo whore. I like the hack and slashers, but there's a time when Magic can be a little deeper, and I think this kind of looks like that. I mean, I liked the videos that I've seen.
Yeah, it's got Wi-Fi too, so hopefully we'll have some kind of big battles online.
Yeah,
with it.
That's what I hear, that you're going to be able to have like wizard versus wizard battles, and so it's going to be a matter of memorizing your spell casts and all. I don't know.
See what happens.
Let's be honest. It could totally suck. I'm not going to, I'm not already a fan of the game and I haven't played it yet.
I know we'll have a review some point coming up in the show.
It will be very soon. I've got it on pre-order. I'll be picking it up either today or tomorrow whenever it shows up, and I'll be up front with you. If it sucks, I'm going to tell you. I paid top dollar for Top Spin too, and you heard what we said about that. There ain't no love going on. There's
so
no
don't worry, everybody. As long as Shane's around to throw money around, we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right.
On our
when
purchases.
I get poor, then you're all screwed. Okay, also available this week on the 26th is the game that I'm really on the fence about. If you think Chris is on the fence about Lost Magic, I'm completely on the fence for Top Gun. Now, this is the first time in, 10, 15 years that we've seen a Top Gun. When I say Top Gun, I'm not talking about like just a good pilot. I'm talking like the movie Top Gun. Remember Tom Cruise, 86, right? It was 86, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is the first time in a long time that the Top Gun, license has been hoarded. And from what I understand, there's absolutely nothing to do with the Top Gun movie in here other than the name and the logo. Go figure. However, there was an era of flight sim, action sim games that I liked. And namely F-15 Strike Eagle 2, which showed up. I don't remember if that ever got ported to a console or not. It might have.
It couldn't have been any good.
Couldn't have been any good, but there was like a C64 version, there was an Amiga version, of course.
You need a keyboard for that stuff. That was back in the day when you had overlays and textbook manuals that were 500 pages long that described every little part of the ship and the plane. And I remember one of my favorites back on the C64 was Gunship. That was a cool game.
Gunship was great, but again, you needed the manual. You needed the keyboard overlay.
This was high tech stuff, dude, that you will not see these days unless. Not in that kind of degree anyway. You certainly won't be seeing 500-page manuals packed into a box these days.
No, the best you'll get is a PDF on a freaking CD or a disc. But what makes Top Gun look interesting to me is it combines two of my favorite type of flight games. One that looks like F-15 Strike Eagle 2, and another which looks like Afterburner. And Afterburner, let's be honest, was a pure adrenaline arcade shoot-'em-up flying game. There was no strategy. There was no sim. There was no get to 150 miles per hour before you take off. No. Get ready. That was Afterburner.
And you're off and ready to battle.
That's right. And it looks like Top Gun could be the perfect marriage between the F-15 Strike Eagle 2 moniker, which is, proceed to checkpoint A, blow this up, and then when you get there, proceed to checkpoint B, blow that up.
Refuel,
exactly. And, okay, so it's a little mindless now, but those were really cool games. And I think Top Gun could be the game that marries those two technologies together and makes a cool game. The early reviews that people are putting up are not good, but then again, we know how early reviews are. I played it for 2 seconds, it pissed me off, so I gave it a bad score.
Well, just in the defense of early reviews, Top Spin 2 also had a couple early reviews from the UK that weren't so keen either.
Yeah, all right.
We had a couple 6s laying around and everything, so.
Hey, what are you doing over there?
Huh?
What are you doing
I'm sorry.
there?
I'm just making a quick adjustment here.
Yeah, you adjusted yourself right off the microphone.
My glasses fell off. I apologize.
We're going to leave that in there, too, just because it's funny. And, of course, you want to take the we already talked about FIFA, didn't we?
I think to a point. I mean, it looks like it came out. I think it came out yesterday, actually, the 24th. It was out Monday.
Yeah.
I'm not positive, but it's either out today or yesterday. We mentioned it in past shows. It looks like it's more or less now more screenshots have come out. They've cleaned it up a little bit in terms of some of the interface options. It looks like I haven't actually played it yet, but I'll keep everybody posted. It looks like it's basically the same engine, and they've just retooled it a little bit to update the stats and to bring in the hoopla surrounding the World Cup of 2006.
Now, EA wouldn't be doing that, would they? They wouldn't release the exact same game with some new stats and a couple bug fixes, would they?
No, of course not.
No, what was I thinking?
But you know what? The original, the FIFA 2006 was fantastic. So I'll probably at least see if I can maybe attempt to try this out. I don't know if I'm going to run out and buy it. I mean, if it's more or less the same game, but I'd rather save my money for the obvious 2007 version, which once again, I really hope FIFA EA incorporates some Wi-Fi ability into it.
Yeah, well, that'd be great.
I would love to be able to just play this with somebody online, like even if it's rough, like Tetris was, just a random thing, but where I could just choose a friend to play against. That would just be mind blowing to me.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're just jumping head first into the whole Wi-Fi thing on the DS. I mean, we barely get suitable games out of them. We might be asking too much if we actually,
Yeah, they've gone the way of the dodo, in my opinion. It's a shame. I mean, what a great company, and I used to love their record album boxes back in the 80s for their games. And
oh man, talk about going, from hero to zero, man. I mean, that's the sob story. Yeah, they were it. I mean, when you bought EA games sight unseen, they were that good.
And you knew it was going to be pure quality and presentation, and now it's not quality, and it's most of the stuff they have now in their lineups are anytime a good game actually does come out, it's because EA bought that company up.
Right, like Bullfrog or something.
Yeah, or Westwood. I mean, look at Westwood. I mean, if anything comes out of any of these, any good games actually come out. Even Burnout. Burnout wasn't created by EA.
That was Criterion, right?
Criterion, yeah, which is a UK company, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they are, yeah.
They said, wow, this game's making a lot of money. Let's buy them up. And now it looks like EA actually made the game, when in reality they didn't. And I think that's the problem. A lot of people and a lot of magazines and a lot of companies in general that support gaming, in the media tend to forget that, these are the companies that are publishing the games. They're actually creating the games, so. And that's why I think FIFA, the original 2006 came out so well, because it was done by their offshoot company in Canada,
Good for them. Let's hope that the same guys do this and it turns out to be good. But I'm sure you'll keep us in the loop on that.
Even if they just took the 06 version out of Wi-Fi, I would be all over it. I'd be buying it again. That'd be fantastic. So anyway, that's about wraps it up, I guess, for what's coming out and what is out currently. Yeah. So next week we'll hopefully have some more additions to the I can't talk today. More additions to that list. It looks like a pretty slow month overall, though.
Yeah, it looks like this is pretty much going to be it. This is going to be the last, I think, for the month.
But also one quick thing. Looking over some of the release lists and some of these various retailers, the DS Lite accessories are still listed as like June 1st.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of that right now. I don't know if they're placeholders, but in my opinion, I think we're going to be seeing it sometime in the middle of May. Like around where New Super Mario Brothers pops out.
Yeah, and for those of you who missed out, maybe this is your first edition of Dual Screen Radio. Last episode, episode 6, we did a full episode based on the DS Lite. We talked about all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, what little of it there was. We gave you videos, pictures. We gave you the full meal spread on the DS Lite. And if you're still considering, maybe you're on the fence, am I going to buy another DS or am I going to get a Lite? I would definitely recommend going back and catching the show while it's still online.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Very good episode. We got lots of good review on it. So people liked it.
Okay, well, moving on. We now have the touch and go segment of the show. All the latest news here.
This just in.
Well, me and Shane have we've been on the lookout for this. The Nintendo DS download stations are finally making more of an appearance around town. They're popping up in Best Buy, GameStop, and from what we've seen, they're basically encased DS systems running and transmitting Wi-Fi code for the demos.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting this futuristic robotic stand-up thing that I don't know. I expected something different, but you basically walk into the store and above this is like a GameStop. You walk over to the DS section of GameStop, which is in the middle of the thing because all the racks are taken up by PSP movies. So there's a middle staging area for the DS games, and right on the top it's got this blue sign that says "Download DS demos here." That's it. I mean, that's all you see. I don't know. I expected there to be a little more fanfare or something.
Probably blink and you miss it. Yep.
Yeah, literally. But you know what they've got? And I swear I'm going to steal this. I'm going to go into GameStop. No one's looking. I'm going to take it. They've got a floor mat that has the big DS download logo on it.
Oh, nice.
Dude, I'm totally going to snake that frickin' mat, dude.
Wait, you know what you could do? You could distract them. Show them your DS Lite.
Here, you want to hold my light for a minute?
Here, hold my DS Lite. Oh, I'll be right back. Yeah, hi. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
I just got this DS download mat shoved down my shorts.
Dude, I know. Yeah, well, that would be an improvement in my case. But, no, literally, it's huge. It's like 3 foot by 3 foot. It's huge. It's blue.
Wow,
it looks really cool. It's like, I'm gonna have to take this. I mean, I'm an overall straight guy, but I'm going to have this mat. Maybe they'll give it to me someday. I don't know. But anyway, so you basically walk into the store. You flip open your DS. You turn it on. You hit DS download. And it comes up and says, would you like to download the demo station? This demo station downloads. And you get, I think, 4 games and 1 movie.
Yeah, it's like a little graphical interface. It just shows you a little thumbnail for the game and then the title of the game next to it. It's almost like basically if you were going to download a demo from somebody else, or you wanted to connect single card play.
Right.
When you put your game in, it'll show you a little thumbnail of the icon for the game and then the title of the game, and that's what you're getting. A little list here. You're getting Mario Kart. You're getting Medios.
Brain Age.
True Swing. Brain Age.
Yep.
True Swing Golf. And I know there's a video of Metroid Prime Hunters. It's not an actual demo of the game. It's a video, which
I think
don't quite
Pokemon
understand.
Troze's on there too.
Yes, Pokemon Troze is on there as well.
So you get a decent selection. There's 2 different Tetris modes you get to download.
And Tetris also. Tetris DS is on there.
Push and I think Catch maybe. I can't remember. Push was one of them.
Yeah.
There's a goodly amount of things, and the fact that they call it Volume 1, and we already know this anyway, that once a quarter the reps are going to come out and change out the games. So, give it 3 months, come back in, and look at some more games.
And you know what else is kind of interesting to point out is every single one of those games in the demo download station is actually a self-contained demo in each of the games if you actually purchase them.
Right. That's a really good point. If you buy True Swing Golf,
the demo.
Yeah, the demo that you get from the download station is actually in the cartridge, too. You can send that to somebody else.
Yeah, so it's basically the same demos, I think, more or less. Although, you know what? I take that back, because Mario Kart DS does not have a demo in it. So they made a special demo just for
they probably
Kart
used
DS.
the kiosk demo or a modification of the
exactly,
kiosk demo.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Most of these have just been self-contained kiosk demos. What's nice, though, is you can actually take these with you now.
Yes.
So once you download the demo, you're free to try it out as long as you want, as many times as you want, until you power off your DS.
Yeah, no more playing with that nasty in-house, super scratched with a razor blade freaking touchscreen in a position that you can't see it because it's like on the ground where the kids play. Right. You can actually get the demo, take it home, relax in your easy chair, and
close the lid and let it go.
And let it go. I mean, it's a great deal. It's very slick. It's very easy. I mean, Nintendo's got this easy thing down. You walk in, you turn it on, you get the menu, you pick something, it shows a transmit bar that shows how much longer you got to wait, and you walk away. You're done. That's
stuff.
It. Now, me being the interested guy that I am, plus I have some friends that work at GameStop, I said, what the hell transmits these things? Where's the hardware? I want to see it. So I'm curious. So they're like, yeah, they finally dropped this thing off for us, because I've been bitching at them for like months. Where's your download station? Where's your download station? So they, from behind the counter, plugged into the wall, they pulled this white box. It's like a white box with a little lock on the front. And that's it, and a wire going into it. And I'm going, dude, can you get into that box? I want to see what's in there. You open up the box, I swear to God, you open the box up, there's a Nintendo DS open with a cartridge in it and a power plug coming into it. That's the DS download station.
That's funny stuff.
It runs off a cartridge.
Real high tech.
Very high tech. So one of the things that makes that kind of cool is if it goes down in the store, you don't have to have some weird Nintendo tech come and fix it. Literally, you unplug it, put a new DS in, and turn it back on.
Cool stuff.
Good stuff. That also is actually a pretty interesting testament to me personally about the quality of the DS. I mean, if the DS under, 24 hours a day, 7 day a week, 365 day a year, constantly powered on was going to be a problem, that was going to crap out a lot, or there was going to be, material issues with the unit, they wouldn't have chosen to put that unit in the box. So I have a good guess now what they're going to do with all the old DSs when the DS Lite comes out. They're putting them in download stations. And what a brilliant concept. What a brilliant concept. You get some guy that's got a bad pixel on his DS, he sends it in, you ship him a replacement. Who cares if the pixels are bad? You throw in a download station. How brilliant is that? If Nintendo was smart, they'd be giving those download cartridges away to anybody who wanted them.
That's
literally
exactly.
At
that
the
would
movie
be awesome.
theater, at the movie theater, you walk into the movie theater, you're waiting for your flick, you got your DS out. There's a download station in there, in every theater, or find some better way to transmit other than, a 30-foot DS.
They really need to get themselves more exposed and out there.
Man, I would
They
die.
could be putting these things everywhere.
You should be able to go into a mall.
McDonald's or something.
Exactly. McDonald's should have them. At the mall, when you go to a directory service or one of those little information boxes in the middle of the mall, there should be a big DS download sign on there. You walk up and get a game.
Yeah,
How
at the
brilliant
rides
would
for the
that be?
kids and stuff.
Any place that you have to wait. Doctor's offices. That'd be brilliant. Literally, dentists, doctor's offices.
Trauma center demo.
What does it cost you? It costs you a DS, used $89. You get the game cartridge for free from Nintendo because it's promo. They send you a couple of DS Download Center kiosk banners that you can put up in your waiting room. What is that? That's nothing. Right? I'd almost do that at work just to set it up.
Sit and play some Tetris.
Yeah, let's play some Tetris. I don't know. But that's really cool that those are out, and it's cool that they look like that they're committing to them, and we're going to get new games every quarter. Probably could have been done a little bit more frequently than that, but I think a quarter will be all right.
Yeah, so I imagine the next set of demos will most likely have like a new Super Mario Brother demo in there. It's got to have something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm totally
That's
sure
huge.
that we're going to see big stuff on there. Probably a Sudoku one. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But so that's really cool. And Best Buys all over the place have them. I've been to like 3 Best Buys. They all have them. The 2 GameStops I went to have them. EB Games didn't have one, which I thought was kind of weird because they're like the same company as GameStop. But
Yeah, well, they looked at me like I had 5 heads when I asked them.
right, exactly. Of course. Oh, DS, what's that?
Oh, what's that? Yeah. We got a PSP over here. Are you talking about that maybe?
You loser. We're talking about the DS. No. So yeah,
Just keep an eye out.
Just keep an eye out for them. You'll see them there. These big blue signs.
It's really cool.
It's very cool. And off of DualScreenRadio.com, another plug for the site. If you go to DualScreenRadio.com and you look on the left, in the middle of the left, there is a box. You can type in your zip code, and it'll show you where the nearest DS download station is to you.
Nice.
So make use of it. We swiped it right off of Nintendo's site, of course, but
It saves you a click.
it saves you a click.
Nice
right?
big DS hub.
Well, yeah, we're going to hook you up.
Once again, everybody casting this, check it out.
Yep, there you go. You're casting,
So-
you're missing half the Dual Screen Radio
Experience.
There you go.
Okay, well, moving on here. Do you want
Yeah.
to take the next one?
Yeah, sure. There is an ad in Famitsu magazine. Famitsu. Big magazine in Japan. Basically, these guys are like the definitive thing for anything. Whenever you hear about a game getting a good rating, it's because these guys gave it a good rating. So these are kind of the ipso de facto dudes. Yeah, they've been around forever. Anyway, we saw a scan, and we're going to give you a link that looks like, take it for what it's worth, a black DS Lite. Now, I'm not a huge person of color, I'm pretty, anti-Semitic when it comes to what color my gaming units are. That's why I happen to have a powder puff blue light.
It reflects your true nature.
It reflects my true nature. I'm soft on the inside. Well, on the outside, too.
You're powdery fresh.
Yeah, powder fresh. But, so they show a picture, and it doesn't look doctored. It looks like a real picture of a black Nintendo DS Lite. And I'll tell you what, rumor mill had it that there were going to be 2 new colors when the light shipped to the U.S. It'd be really cool if black was one of them.
Yeah, that'd
And
be
I'll
awesome.
tell you what, the black looks great, doesn't it? If that's,
It does
if
look
that's
really
the real
cool.
deal.
Yeah.
The enamel navy.
Fingerprint magnet.
Oh, I know. That's the good thing
though.
about the powder puff blue, man. You see nothing. Literally, I could wipe my nose on this.
Hey, you gotta find the positives while you now you have
That's
it.
right.
So.
Now that I've got it, I have to justify my purchase,
Of
like
course.
the Xbox 360 people.
Of course, some people, and I don't know. I kind of looked at it and thought the same way. I'm wondering if this is just a navy enamel
With some bad
navy
coloring,
color. Yeah, just a bad picture of it. The thing was scanned from a magazine.
It could well be.
And you don't know what kind of setting it was scanned at either. So it could be just. I've seen the navy color look like 10 different colors depending on the light.
Yeah.
Depending on the original lighting source of the photo, either in the room, whatever. So if it's black, it'd be great. If not, well,
It does look black. I just
still
pulled
looks
the picture
nice.
back up. It really does look black.
It does look black.
If
yes.
it's a hoax, it's a really good one.
I don't think it's necessarily a hoax. I think it's just, it could be that, like I said, the scan or a bad picture, whatever.
We'll see.
Well, we shall find out.
We'll let you know.
Hopefully report it here.
We'll let you know.
This is something you kind of brought to my attention. I hadn't realized it, but it looks like WarioWare Twisted, after 10 years release, has finally been given the go-ahead for the Europe release.
What is it? I mean, do you guys pick it WarioWare or something? Because I don't understand why you guys are the last ones, like 3 years later. Literally 3 years later to get WarioWare Twisted. I mean, this is like the must-have game of like 2 years ago.
It's a really, really good game, and that's why I think we have to keep bringing it up. And I think it's a fantastic little game.
It's amazing.
Really, it's a shame that the Europeans are getting shafted again.
Again, what is it? You poor guys, man. I'm so sorry. I apologize in advance for Nintendo, man. WarioWare Twisted, by the way, for those of you who are living under a rock and don't know what WarioWare Twisted is, you know WarioWare micro games. This is the same exact thing, except for it's a Game Boy Advance cartridge, and it's got a gyro unit inside of it. It can detect that you're turning and rolling your DS. Is that brilliant or what? I mean, you're sitting there going, well, how am I going to play WarioWare games with that? Trust me. They have totally capitalized on the turning, twisting, and rotating of your DS. It works brilliant. It's a must-have game. At $24, it's a must-have game.
Must-have game, and it's really the way the gyro is handled is just it's really nice. It's not some half-assed mechanical gimmick.
No.
It really is handled well. They did a really nice job.
It's superb quality.
So
to me, this just gives you a taste of what the Revolution might kind of hold for you. That's sort of a taster to me.
That was like one of the first games that really came out and said, here's something different. Like in terms of, moving things around.
It's brilliant. You guys are going to love it. You guys are going to absolutely love it. We'd like to hear from you guys, too. When the first shipments start rolling in over there, and you guys pick it up, because I know you're going to want it now, because we've totally made you drool. Pick it up and let us know what you think, because I think it's brilliant.
It's going to be like going back in time, and hearing the first initial reviews of when it came out here.
Yeah, I paid $25 used with no manual and no box, and I was happy to do so. So that gives you some idea. Good stuff. All right.
Well,
go ahead with the next one if you'd like.
Nintendo has finally opened up the official website for the new Super Mario Brothers game. It's really, it was up before, but now they got a little more meat going on.
Yeah, it was a teaser site before. Now it's a full-blown deal.
Now you're getting videos, and the first video of what looks like about, what was it, 4? Looks like they got 4 upcoming videos. I think they're going to be bringing online over the next few days. The first one is just really nice. It shows you all the little power-ups that Mario is going to be able to use in the new game. You got your staples, such as the star that grants invisibility, and you have the fireball, which turns them white and red. So, amongst other things, such as a mega mushroom that makes them grow about the size of the screen and crush everything in sight. One little thing that I thought was really cool from the video is when you go down a pipe, normally the stuff's on the top screen, but when you go down into a pipe, the screen actually transfers down to the bottom screen.
That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I like that. So check out the video. It's really really nice and well done. It really makes you draw a little more for the final game. I don't know how big you are on Nintendo Mario Brother games, but I know I've always liked them, and I've always been a sucker for side-scrollers.
Oh, yeah, after Princess Peach, dude, I'm ready for more, man.
Cool.
I am definitely ready. Now, understand, too, I've always been, up until just a couple of years ago when the SP came out, I've always been sort of a negative, anti-Nintendo kind of guy, and even I was totally hooked on Super Mario Brothers. I mean, I would sneak out of school to go down to this little frickin' convenience store where they had, a Super Mario Brothers, and I just threw mass cash after it, dude. So,
one of those 2-screen Versus units?
Was it a Versus unit? I don't think so. It was just a single screen. I think it was a dedicated, maybe.
Really?
Yeah. I don't remember. I was busy shoveling cash into it.
Because I remember they used to have the Verse machines. Remember they had the 2 screens and the
this was
machine.
long before the Versus machines that I ever saw came out. But I lived in Wenatchee.
It's the only way I ever saw Super Mario Bros.
Really? No. I saw it on a dedicated machine. I'm sure of it.
You're not thinking of the Play Choice, right?
No, it wasn't the Play Choice.
That was later on.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the Play Choice.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Anyway, I'm excited.
Yeah,
it looks great.
I can't wait. It looks great. It looks like the last big game of the before the summer dullness
drought
kind of
hits.
sets in.
Yeah.
Yes, drought. That's a good word.
Good word. Yeah, I played with my vocation or my vocabulary building toy today. Yeah, so got some extra words in there.
Got brain age going on.
Got brain age going
brain
on.
Working a little
Some
better.
of they're all 4-letter words in there, which actually leads you to believe that maybe an adult version of brain age. You get a hack in there. I bet I could remember the 4-letter words if they were other words. Give me 34-letter words. I'll tell you, I can remember those. Anyway.
But we're a clean show.
We're a clean show, yes, so we can't tell you about our 4-letter words. I'll take the next one, I guess.
Sure.
I've never been a huge King of Fighters fan, but I know that there is SNK is the company that makes that, and King of Fighters has this huge, creepy following. I mean, they make Nintendo fanboys look tame. And you say King of Fighters, and it just inspires this whole emotional reaction from some people.
Yeah, they're like second to the Street Fighter.
It's
series.
like after Street Fighter is King of Fighters.
I think originally it started as a poor man's Street Fighter, but now it's erupted into its own little cult.
It's its own cult thing. The old Neo Geo, video game system, which I never really got into, maybe because the cartridges are like $400, But anyway, so King of Fighters is a big deal to a lot of people, even though it may not be to us. And SNK is actually bringing that to our favorite venerable handheld, the DS. So life is good. Life is good for King of Fighter fans. Me personally, I'm kind of waiting for a Mortal Kombat because I'm a slut and I like fatalities and gore and blood.
Well, maybe we'll get the Midway Classics and they'll just do like a Mortal Kombat trilogy or something.
Man, I would love to have like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 on here.
I'm sorry, but there's no way, absolutely zero way that they couldn't get that game playing full blast on the DS.
Oh, of course.
If they, give me a break. There's if anything, I don't even know if the resolution would come into play, but there's no way they couldn't put like a perfect arcade port of Mortal Kombat 2 on the DS.
Yeah, give me Baraka, man. As long as I got Baraka, I'm good to go. Give me Mortal Kombat 2. Look, if the Genesis could do it. Yeah, Liu Kang wins. Yeah, give me an early one. I don't want the first one because that one's a little bit slow, but the second one, give me Baraka, man.
2 is the cool one.
2 is the cool one, and I would.
I've never really played the other ones.
I would love that. I mean, I liked what's the guy that spit? Reptile. I kind of liked his character and the later Scorpions. Scorpion got pretty badass. Toasty! Man, if you recognize that, you're as old as we are. Okay, go ahead. This is your Castlevania time.
Well, yeah, I'm not a huge hardcore into Castlevania, but I do appreciate the games. Castlevania Portrait of Ruin is the official name now. There was a little April Fool's joke going around that was called Dual Moons, but I saw right past that myself, and I went right to the source and got the legitimate name, Portrait of Ruin, and that's going to be coming out at the end of the year, hopefully around November from Konami. And it looks like some new screenshots are out. We haven't seen any video just yet.
Watch out for that.
Yeah.
Beware of no video.
Well, we never, they already got it right pretty much in terms of the graphics from the first one.
Yeah.
Even though some of the content was a little blah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the characters. This new one here, it looks like they're taking some new characters, new setting. It's going to be set in World War II.
Yeah, really. How many more World War II games do we need this year?
What are we doing? Are the Belmonts storming the beach in Normandy now?
Yeah, exactly.
So it looks like the characters are going to be a couple girls. And
hey now.
I'm not really thrilled with the character designs. I've already made it a point in the forum. I don't like the cartoony look we're getting now. It's almost like Konami's pulling out the Dragon Booster Yu-Gi-Oh look on their, cartoony
Dragon
looks.
Booster, man. Harsh.
Sorry, but look at the cover art, and that's what you're
job.
getting here. They sent it down to their lowest of the low. I mean, Castlevania is Konami's one of their big bread and butter franchises.
Yeah, they're going to release a good version on the PSP probably.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
off, you bastards.
Yeah. There'll be some gothic, dark-looking, beautiful art, and instead they're giving us this real cheesy, cartoony look that I'm really not a big fan of. I thought the character in the last 2 games really sucked. The Soma guy. I mean, he was like some kid with these boots and jeans on. I mean, I don't want that crap. I want Simon Belmont or the original guy. Was that Simon? I don't remember. The original Nintendo guy. Just give me the big barrel-chested barbarian-looking monstrosity of a Belmont with this big whip. I want some big tough dude, man. I don't want this little.
You don't want the sexually androgynous looking.
I can't even tell what he is. I mean,
I know. Is it a chick? Is it a dude? What am I looking at here?
And why is he trying to dress like Elvis?
What is this, Castlevania metrosexual edition or what?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's going on. I thought it was stupid. I love the gameplay. It's not very difficult like it used to be, though. I mean, it's kind of a cakewalk. I mean, if I had the time allotted to me, I could just blow through I think I died 2 times in the entire game. It's ridiculous. The original NES one, I could barely even make it through like the 4th level. I mean, without dying like 10 times.
Yeah. But I tell you something, other than the characters, though, the graphics look decent.
Oh, yeah. I'm not putting it down. I really don't like the characterizations. I don't like the way they're kind of taking it away from the dark look that it used to have.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the one time they did it before was on the TurboGrafx. Actually, it was technically the PC Engine in Japan. They had a really, really nice version of it. Rondo of Blood, I think. Dracula X. It was just a fantastic Castlevania. And after that came the PlayStation 1 Symphony of the Night. But they used a little bit of that anime cartoon look. But at the same time, it wasn't like a real clean, safe looking anime. It was a more rough edged, scary kind of anime. Something like you'd see I saw this thing called Vampire and Deal. All these people out here will know what I'm talking about. But I really wish they would go back to that. And I'm looking at these characters, and I don't want to portray this girl with this yo-yo looking whip. I want some toughness involved.
Yeah, if you're going to give a chick a whip, put her in like black tight spandex and.
You ever play Soul Calibur?
Oh, hells yeah.
Yeah, what's her name with the sword that kind of unchains itself?
What's her name? Sophia?
No.
not
If
Sophia
you say it, I'll know it. I forgot her name.
What was the other chick?
The short white-haired girl with the sword, and it was like when she. When she'd move her sword, it would all unchain itself. Somebody's going to nail me for this one.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about.
I see it on the tip of my tongue, and I just can't remember her name offhand.
Yeah, I always remember Sophia. That's the only one I ever remember. And there's like 3 or 4 other ones.
Yeah, that's I think that's the Greek.
Man,
girl.
I logged a lot of time on Soul Calibur. Dude.
Great game, I remember Song Ninya and all that. But anyway, they need to take somebody like that. I mean, at least make her some tough girl. This is just stupid. I don't like this. I mean, the one character looks like a little girl. It's Anyway, getting away from that. The game's showing some screenshots. We got them out there. We got we'll give you some links. It looks like it's going to be a pretty cool game. I love the side scrollers. I just wish they would try to get out of the rut they're in now and change some of the things they're doing.
I kind of like to go back to. The basics,
Yeah, stage 1 of 2, stage 1, 2, stage 1, 3, stage 2, 4, things like that. And then you have a boss. I love that stuff.
Hey, was the chick's name Ivy?
That's it,
yeah,
Ivy. That's it.
I cheated,
right.
though.
Yeah, I know. But that's it.
I
that's
used
it.
Google.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's a pretty decent site, the Soul Calibur 2 site that I dug up on. SoulCalibur.com. Nice.
That was a good game.
Very clean. Somebody deserves some points for stealing graphics so well.
Our final news item for the week here, our bi-weekly show, is Square Enix has published their upcoming E3 game list of what they're going to show off at the next E3. And you got a lot of hotly anticipated games in there, such as Children of Mana and the overhauled remake of Final Fantasy III. Final Fantasy III, I'm not a big Final Fantasy fan. I understand the draw, but I'm somebody who kind of grew up with all those, RPGs that like Legacy of the Ancients, Bard's Tale. What's that other one? Man, I forgot it. Anyway, the D&D stuff, those old like Pool of Radiance, and those are the Champions of Krynn. Those are the big RPGs for me. So when Final Fantasy came out, it wasn't really like the big punch in the gut. Wow, this is amazing, game that a lot of the kids nowadays seem to think is like the bread and butter of RPG games.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of actually dumbed down to what I'm used to. Final Fantasy is not anything sophisticated like I used to play, and maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, and I guess my big problem too is I don't play video games to read stories. I play video games.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a backstory, but like when the whole game you're just sitting there,
chugs to a halt for 20 minutes.
B button. Oh, what? I'm back in control now. Great. So you walk like 5 feet, B button, B button, B button, B button,
right.
B button.
Watching animations of things going on. I mean,
it's not for me. That's not my gig.
I got halfway through Final Fantasy VII. It was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love the commercial value of it, and all the effort that went into the artwork was great, and blah blah blah. But I'll probably buy this because it'll be cool to have a little portable RPG.
Yeah.
But if it was something like on the Xbox or PlayStation 2, I wouldn't be as interested. I'd rather have something like this I can hold in my hand and spend a few minutes with, maybe hopefully save it in real time, move on. Children of Mana looks kind of cool. I love the artwork. It's all 2D.
Yeah, it's very cartoony.
that's the other thing. The Final Fantasy 3, it's all a 3D update. It really looks nice. But
it does look sharp. It reminds me of what's that game, Skies of Arcadia or whatever that came out on Dreamcast?
From the Dreamcast.
It almost looks exactly like it from what I'm looking at. That's kind of cool, I guess, right?
Yeah, and when you get it down to those tiny little screens, the graphics are going to look even better too.
Yeah.
I mean, they always blow up the DS graphics, which you cannot do.
Everything
you can't blow it up.
Pixelizes to death.
Exactly. It looks really horrible.
Looks bad.
But Children of Mana looks really neat. It looks like a 2D dungeon crawl, which is fine with me. A lot of people.
Yeah, give me dungeon crawls, man. Especially if it's more
hack and slash.
Give me hack. I'm dying for a hack and slash, man. Blizzard needs to get off their ass and get us Diablo, so that I can stop bitching about it every episode.
I mean, I think people would buy a DS just if they could play Diablo.
Could be the killer app. No two ways about it, dude.
I don't know what they're doing. They need to pull their thumb out of World of Warcraft and get going.
Yeah, I know World of Warcraft's making you money hand over fist. Why rock the boat? Why split your effort? Give us frickin' Diablo. I would. I'd be calling in sick from work, and I wouldn't be getting anything done. My life would go to hell. And I can't wait for it to happen. You know what I'm saying?
I've already got the game all figured out, too. I have every key and everything figured out.
Did you put that up on the forums? I think people would be interested in seeing that.
You know what? I did it in an intuitive way, unlike some people who can't seem to think properly.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, like why not use the shoulder buttons? You know, shoulder button, left shoulder button, health, right shoulder button, mana. You know.
Oh man, I'm telling you,
how easy is that? And then you move around with the directional pad, and you tap on the enemy to attack them. I mean, it's sort of akin to what you're doing with Metroid Prime Hunters, but you know, it's not. It's a little more laid back and slower paced.
Yeah, this isn't complicated math, people. I mean, I don't understand how people mess these things up, but.
Right. I mean, you can flip the screens. You use the select button. This is something that should have been done in Zoo Tycoon. You know, you got your playfield at the bottom. You've got your armory. You know, your inventory on the top screen. Okay. Whenever you use the bottom screen, the touch screen to move, you know, to attack enemies and whatnot, what have you. But when you want to go into your inventory, why should you have to use the top screen alone and the D-pad to do all that? Why can't you just
That's stupid.
Hit either the start button, I don't know, to pause it, or hit the select button, and it would actually instantly reverse the screen. So now you have access to your inventory on the touch screen.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
You couldn't play the PC version with the inventory screen up anyway. I mean, you could half-ass it by having the playfield on half the screen, but then you'll be seeing enemies attacking you that you cannot see.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll have enemies attacking you that are off the screen because your inventory is blocking it. So I don't understand
how you can mess these things up.
It's simple. I mean, come on. If you're programming a game like that, is it really that hard? I'm not a programmer, but would it really be that hard to just have a simple flip of the screen?
Look, I've done some programming, folks. If anybody out here listening works for Blizzard, you need a consultant in on this one. I'm a huge Diablo fan, big Blizzard fan.
Both of us are, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I'll hook you up. I'll do it for free. I'll send you over. I will draw it out on paper or on the computer. I will draw out exactly what the screens need to look like. I'll map all the buttons for you. I'll tell you exactly how to make it work. You follow that, gold.
I mean, look at the original PC version. The resolution on that game wasn't the best to begin with, you know. So
exactly.
It was fun. There's no way this game cannot work on the DS. And throw the Wi-Fi in there, even if it's just local, I'll take it. But if they would be able to put worldwide Wi-Fi, oh my God, the ball would just drop.
God. There'd be nothing happening. Towns would fall into ruin. The economy would be lost. I mean, literally, if you could play multiplayer Wi-Fi Diablo, I'm sorry, it'd be over. Everyone else
I would even take a port of the first one with maybe some mechanics from the second one.
Hells yes.
Anyway, not to get off the subject again, but
once again we have to segue. But that's what you guys listen for. So far, most people like that.
We'll have the link on there. You can check it out. They've got quite a few games coming out for the DS, and it's a listing overall of everything they're going to have.
Good. It may not be for me. It may not be my kind of stuff necessarily, but good. Anybody who's supporting the DS, my hat's off to you. Unless you're making really crappy games, Activision. Unless you're making really crappy.
THQ.
Yeah, THQ. Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with a good acronym for THQ, dude.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. But I kind of stumped at the Q part.
That's hell quality right there.
Total humiliation quality.
Yeah, quotient, yes, that's great. Hey, I like that. We'll come up with something. Okay, to round the show off here, we're going to finish up. That'll pretty much do it for Touch and Go. One thing about Touch and Go we were talking about, and we kicked this around and it didn't make the list, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. We all know that there is a dark, sinister side to all video gaming. And unfortunately, in order to do good things like homebrew. You have to do evil things like run hardware that's like illegal and hack systems and run mod chips and all that other freaky crap, which most people already know about. So I'm not like, telling you anything you don't already know. But there is a homebrew community out for the Nintendo DS. And I'm not sure, and I would rather have the listeners decide whether they're interested in us covering any sort of homebrew thing. Now, here's what's not going to happen. We're not going to tell you how to run homebrew stuff. We're not going to tell you how to hack your DS. We're not going to tell you how to break the law. Unfortunately, you're going to break the law if you want to run homebrew stuff. So we can't go there. But if you are actually interested in us doing a little short segment of each episode about what's new out there and what is available, because there are some things that have so much practical application that it's almost criminal for us not to talk about it, like Moonshell, which is a media player for your DS. Forget that 4 gigabyte, $200 media player thing. Forget about the Play-In. Forget about all these other weird devices and things that promise to show video that don't. The Moonshell's the real deal, and it's not a turnkey solution. It's not something you go down and buy it at Fry's or at Best Buy. But for those people who have a sort of, hacker backbone and kind of are interested in, doing your own little videos and playing MP3s on your DS and things like that, that's a product that would actually take care of you.
I wouldn't even say it's a hacker thing. It really isn't.
It's not that hard.
If you think about it, even just trying to legitimize this a little bit, because there's really nothing bad about it. How many people out there now? How many younger guys out there now that would love to get into the video game industry?
Sure.
What would be a cool way to get started in learning how to program or, figure out how things work, how to get something displayed on a screen, and without needing too much hardcore equipment. Something like this is what that's about, in my opinion. Look at some of the programs you could sit and program in a simple environment. That the DS, it's advanced enough that you can increase your expertise, I guess, of what I've started out on. But it's just a nice little place to get started on, and I think that's fantastic. It would really get people, and especially somebody who's interested in this as a profession.
And I'm really sick and tired of losing DS audience to PlayStation portables and to other devices because they play video, And it drives me crazy that when you have something like Moonshell sitting around, I took Batman Begins, ripped it off my own DVD, my legitimate copy. I ripped it down and converted it into the Moonshell format, and now I've got a 350 megabyte file that I can play on my DS. It's a movie. It's actually, I can watch a freaking movie.
On your secure digital media card.
On my secure digital media card. How cool is that? But in order to get from the point of buying a DS to the point of doing that, those are the sort of things we can't talk about. But we do want people to know that there is a community out there of people that are trying to do cool and new things with the DS and extend its capabilities. So if that's the sort of thing you're interested in, let us know. And if it's something that's like, you're boring the crap out of us with this stuff, none of us can do it anyway, why should we care? You're not going to tell us how to do it, blah, blah, blah. If that's something, let us know either way. And, we'll kind of decide based on what the listeners want, whether or not, we talk about some of this stuff. Because I think
so. For all you people casting this, once again, please check out the website and check the forums and give us some feedback.
Yeah, give us
or
some
even
feedback.
email us.
Email us is fine. Whatever works out, we're just happy to get that stuff. Well, okay, enough of that. The last part of the show is typically about what's going on the website. For those of you who have not yet visited the website, we've been plugging it all show long, and now we're going to tell you some reasons why you should be here. First of all, we produce a lot of news throughout the 2 weeks that we're not broadcasting. Some things make it back into the show. Some things don't. Some things are just casual pieces of news information that we feel we can pass on to you through the channel or through the website that we can't, it's too mundane to actually sit here and talk about it.
Right.
We also have links to the forums. We have tons of people, tons of huge DS enthusiasts that are out there waiting for someone to yap with, or who have great topics. There's all sorts of good stuff going on. So that's important too. And more importantly, probably now more than ever, because this seems to be like one of the biggest loved features of our site, is we've started looking around and we said to ourselves, we need a Nintendo DS database. I want to know what's out there. I want to know what's coming. I want to know what good games are out there. I want to know what games to stay away from. So we've been looking around, and Nintendo's got a database, IGN's got a database, everybody's got a database, but it was nothing at all like what we wanted. So Chris and I sat down and spec'd out a database that would give us exactly what we want, which would be to provide you with every DS game that we know about, what's coming soon, what's coming out, and give you information. It started off with me wanting to know whether or not I could play a game on single card or not. That's a huge piece of information. So anyway, with all the databases kicking around and nothing that made us happy, we came up with this one. And I'll tell you what, it started off small. A lot of people were into it. A lot of people started making their own lists of their own games. And this is what's cool. You have a little bit of input because we're, such small fries here. Go to IGN and ask them to add some import game that they've never heard of to their list so that you can put it on your own list. Yeah, good luck. But with us, we've had people ask us for some import games to be added to the list, and we've done that. Chris has been really good about getting the imports on there that you guys want to see. And we've expanded it a lot. You can create a wish list that, of course, you could send to, grandma and grandpa when they need to know what game to buy you, as well as a watch list. And this is really important to me, is a watch list. And I'm not sure I know any other database that offers this. If we make a change to the entry, in other words, if we go to X-Men, the official game, and change the graphic out, which we do a lot, because the box arts change or whatever.
Try to stay up with date.
Yeah, we try to stay up with the information. If we didn't know if it was multiplayer or not on a single card and we changed that, you get an email if the game's on your watch list. You get an email that says, hey, we've recently changed X-Men, the official game. Here's a link to go see it. And you get to find out the latest information as soon as we upload it. No, you don't even have to go looking for it. So that's a great thing, and we've expanded even further. Lots of people wrote in with things. They wanted to know what our stylus reviews were, what show that we reviewed the game in. They wanted some bigger screenshots of the box. One guy asked us because he had some accessibility problems. He can't play games with a stylus because of a condition that he has. So he wanted to know which games were more focused on the D-pad, which you can play, versus the stylus. And so we decided to add – we thought that was legitimate. It's nice to know, especially if you're buying a new DS game, does it make use of the microphone? Does it make use of the touchscreen? Is it Wi-Fi-able? Does it use the Rumble Pack? We cover all of that. It's the most comprehensive database. Now, whether or not we'll be able to keep up the steam on it as the DS gets more and more popular, that's the real key. But right now, we're trying to make it as robust as possible. And as a bonus, I know, I'm getting all excited here. I'm starting to froth at the mouth. As a bonus, we've actually started tracking release dates. So eventually, not right this second, but eventually you will be able to see what's coming this week, what's coming next week, what's still coming for the rest of the year. And we've added a voting system, which I think is super important because our opinions vary.
You can actually rate the games, as you see fit.
That's right. And everybody gets a vote. So you sign in to dualscreenradio.com. It's free, of course. We don't charge for any of that stuff. You sign in, you go find the game, and you rate it on 1 to 10. Your score is added to everybody else's score right away, and you can immediately see how your vote affected the score. And the more people that do this, the more accurate and representative of the public we're going to get with these votes. And I think that's really important. I think it's important to know what our core listeners think of the games. And that gives us a better idea of what you guys are looking for.
Well, right now, somebody, I don't know who it was, gave Jump Superstars, an import game, a perfect 10.
Yeah, I think there's only like one vote for that, though, yeah.
Yeah, somebody was being a smarty pants there. I have not played the game, but whatever. If you like it that much, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Be honest.
Be honest, yeah.
Yeah, be honest. Don't take your favorite game and whore it up to a 10 just so that you can see it jump up in the ratings. Just think of it this way. If you're going out to buy a new game and you really want to know the honest opinion of people, you don't want to go and see some fanboy's score on the game, right? You'd like to see a nice, equal, fair vote or equal, fair rating so that you can tell what game you should buy and which ones you shouldn't buy. So we've really expanded the database. If you haven't been to DSR in the last, week, 2 weeks, tons new stuff. I really recommend you get over there and check it out. Get your list built. And, we give you code. We do it all for you, man. You build a list of your games. You can even add your friend codes. We've got the friend code chat system up. So you add your friend codes to Tetris. You add your friend codes to Mario Kart. And then you can click on a link that says Find Friend. You'll see everybody else and their friend ID, and it drops you right into a chat room that you can see who's there and line up a game.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff.
It's cool stuff.
I mean, I love it. I love it. It's just everything's right there and together, and you don't have to bounce all over these other websites. I mean, it's really becoming a nice centralized DS hub for everything you love at the DS.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do.
Really psyched about it.
Because as much as we appreciate everyone loving the show, and I know this is like beating a dead horse. We've talked about this a billion times, but I don't think that you can make a community of people that you can engage with. If I tell you that a game is good, you have some sort of a, you've listened to other shows, if my likings align with your likings, right? So you have something to base off of. But if you don't have a community, if you don't have a forum you can go hang out on where you meet people, I've met tons of friends over the years. Chris and I met on we met on IRC, right?
Oh, yeah, originally? What was that, like maybe 97?
Yeah, like 97. It's been forever.
I think it was one of those things where we were waiting around. This was back when the multiple arcade machine emulator MAME was a big deal, and we were all sitting in a room waiting like midnight, and waiting for the next new release, and it just kind of built out of that,
Yeah, so
I remember when you first started Retro Gaming Radio.
Yeah, I mean, if MAME had been podcasted, no one would have been hanging around in IRC waiting for the games, waiting for the latest version to get released at midnight. There'd be no channel or community or it's just, to me, there's a point where you say, yeah, podcasts are cool or casting is cool. You get the show delivered to you, but there's a whole nother piece of a community environment where you can meet other people like yourself. It just seems so disconnected, which is why I'm not a huge fan of it anyway.
It's very impersonal.
Very impersonal. And I want to see you guys. I want to see my listeners and our listeners come to the site and post. I want to know what you think. I'm interested. I know you say this to girls all the time. You're interested in how they feel. You want to hear about their job. I'm serious. I want to know how you feel. I want to know whether or not our DS Lite review hit it right on the head, or if you think we're just a bunch of, chowderheads over here. How can we improve if we don't get the feedback? And I think the forum is that nice, relaxed, everybody kind of gets into it. And as a bonus, we're going to hook you all up to this other good stuff. We're going to help you find the download stations. We're going to get you your own online list that you can share with your friends. Post a link on your website or in your message forum things. Here's my DS collection. We take care of all that for you. So, again, I don't want to end like every single show with like hyping the website, but it's important that we get your feedback, and that's kind of how we get it.
Yeah, so, I love feedback.
Yeah, and I guess now see, I'm not an iTunes person or really a casting person, but apparently the casting has been working out pretty well. I guess Chris has a little update on that.
Well, yeah, I mean the way it's portrayed on the iTunes, since I have iTunes installed because I have a iPod Nano, I was just checking out the site. I noticed we've gotten a couple of only a couple, but they've been 5-star reviews. It really made me feel really good. I mean, I'm glad people are enjoying what they're hearing, and I saw this earlier and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Got 5-star. It's just nice seeing us on iTunes.
Didn't some guy say he was happy we were using microphones or something?
Yeah, here,
that's great. You got to read that. That's funny stuff.
Let me quote the review. That's what I'm getting to here. The guys, I'm not trying to put ourselves in the spotlight here, but
this is funny stuff. I mean,
this is by Kevin the Invincible. Okay, so
that's great. That's perfect right there alone.
Here's your claim to fame in one of our episodes.
Yeah.
Ultra informative, ultra high quality podcasts. These guys know what they're talking about, and they're fun to listen to. And for once, and this is the funny part, for once there's a video game podcast where people talking to the microphone, and he has that capitalized with explanation points.
Is that great?
I listen on the commute to work. So I have to agree. I listen to a lot of different little podcasts on the way to work, and some are okay, some are better than others. But
that's funny.
At the time, there was absolutely zero DS podcasts, and now it seems like people are trying to jump in and get their part in the fame here. But hey, whatever. We're not here. We're not trying to compete, but at the same time, we're going to do our own thing, and we're certainly not going to.
We're going to hopefully give you a good quality show, and
yeah, that's what it's all about.
That's what it's about.
But thanks Kevin the Invincible for your comments and 5 stars.
Kevin the Invincible, man, I love that.
I mean, I know Shane doesn't really give a two wits crap what happens on iTunes, but I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty cool.
If nothing else, it was entertaining, and that's important.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. He's still a listener, and we want to thank you. And
Thank
Yeah,
all the
I'm glad
listeners.
everybody likes the show, and
Yeah.
which, hey, we're getting up there now. We're almost to that big 1-0.
Yeah, imagine that when we get 10 episodes under our belt. Then what'll happen? Cities will fall into ruin.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. We'll have to put on. We're going to have this. We probably should add this in the news section, but the Nintendo DS was slash-dotted as well.
I forgot about that too. Yeah, we kind of skipped over that. Yeah, that's an important thing. I mean, you can have your opinions one way or the other about Slashdot, and is it a bunch of stuffy nerds that have Linux penguins tattooed on their ass? Maybe. But you cannot deny that, sites that get Slashdotted end up getting closed down for too much bandwidth usage. Slashdotting is something gets attention, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. And, there's no such thing as negative publicity, something like that, negative press. So the DS finally got Slashdotted, and it did seem like more of an advertisement article than anything else. But anytime that we can get our favorite little system in front of the eyes of a lot of people, hey, man, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the word of mouth is how things happen. It's true of anything.
That's right. And
I mean, word of mouth is the best advertising around.
The internet has changed how things work. Word of mouth is your best freaking friend. And that's what these companies are starting to figure out. We're skipping commercials on television. We're boycotting games with ads in them. We're doing everything we can to stop being shoved, promotional crap in front of us, and word of mouth helps that out without the fluff. So, good stuff.
Well, I guess I'll round up this episode of Dual Screen Radio.
Yeah. We actually got out for under 3 hours, I think, this time. What a deal.
And we're actually out on time to begin with.
That's even better.
I think we'll be doing good this time. Going back to the bi-weekly hubbub.
That's outstanding. Well, let's wrap it up. This is Shane R. Monroe.
This is Chris Hentschel.
And until next time,
listening is good.
Listening is good. Take care, everybody.
See ya.